up, down, down, left, right. Then BA start, the screen goes white. It's the cracker, Waddy Cracker, the game genie. 8 bits with the 8-inch weenie. I don't break bricks, I'm not Mario, but I'm still old school like Atari, yo. I'm the highly freestyly Dr. Wiley. Beat me 3 times and you win a smiley. Underground like the sewer where I kick it with rap. Yodel back, Ninja Turtles, Cowabunga, where you at? Jump on the can and the bricks where I'm landing. Gotta get the Triforce, gotta begin. And they called him the wizard in California. Power glove on my wrist, just had to warn ya. Pitter patter on the power pack, track the field. Or be like Rue's dad and get your chest peeled. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Yeah. In between neighborhood laser tagging, we'd all get together for some double dragging. Helicopter kick Bobo off the roof. Have all his henchmen like what the hoof. Then we butt heads with battle toads. Double tapping right to run that foes. Sometimes I hit him with the double fist. Then pop those raps just like assist. It kinda sucks now cause my nest blink's red. I blow and blow but all my games are dead. Thank God for ROMs and Nesticle. Played at every geek rap festival. This is the nerd rap entertainment system. And I hope you like the rhyme I spit. Cause the Waddy Cracker stay nerd forever. If you wanna repeat, just hit reset. Yeah. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Yeah.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated, world's greatest bassist and leader of the gaming racist, Tony TGD. And of course, I'm joined by the banana hammock man himself. What's up, Hammy?
Oh, not much. Ready for another go through on the Slopes Amico video. How
we might make it 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Maybe. We'll see. How you doing tonight, Tony?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I had some issues. I had to go to work today. I haven't gone to work on a Friday in about 3 months. Oh, man. I woke up and I was like, oh, it's so nice and warm in the bed. And I was like, oh, shit, I got to go to work.
So I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling, getting up in the morning. The bed is just so cozy and warm, especially in the wintertime. And then you just got to get the fuck up and go to work. It's like torture.
It is, especially because, like I said, I wasn't used to it. It was like 3 months, no Fridays. So used to just sleeping in.
Yeah.
We made it, I think, like 30 minutes in the last stream. The first stream, 46 minutes. The second stream, 30. So this one, we're only going to get like 15 minutes into the video.
Well, we had Slopes yesterday. He likes to talk.
Oh, blaming it on Slopes.
Yep, I am.
So I did have one bad thing happen. Someone left comments on the video. And unfortunately, I may have made a mistake. I made a boo-boo, an error. I'm not saying I was wrong. I'm just saying that I might have passed off some misinformation. So we have to actually go back.
Oh, God.
Okay. So we're already going. We're going backwards already. So how was your day, Hammock?
It was fine. Just work. I unfortunately got to work tomorrow, but then I have my usual Sunday, Monday off. But so like Friday, nice. Yeah, Friday isn't like a real Friday for me, but wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. Pretty cold today. Didn't get above 21 degrees here.
Oh, it was cold, rainy. kind of snowy, then back to rainy. It was terrible. It's terrible.
I know. I started my day off with the. I made the mistake of. I thought it was just like loose snow on my windshield, and I turn on my windshield wipers, and both of the freaking rubber pieces rip off because it was like frozen to it. Oof. On the windshield wipers. I was pissed.
All right. So the big news, the big nuke, we're still working on it. I reached out to somebody. I'm waiting to hear back from them. They're starting to stonewall me, which is not helpful at all. Noah Jetty is taking off already. He said GFC. He's not feeling it tonight. He's not feeling it. But so we're
see you, Noah.
We're in an hour and 11 minutes and 35 seconds in. But we got to go back. We got to go back all the way to the 32 minute mark. All right. So here at the 32-minute mark, we discussed how they showed all these games, and I said it wasn't fair, that they showed these games because they're not mentioned, right? Slopes put them on the list, but they're not actually mentioned by name in this trailer, right? So I said it wasn't really fair. Well, Genovi was there. Genovi was at the Portland Retro Game Expo 2018 when this keynote speech was done. And he says that Tommy actually did say in the speech, it's not part of the video, but in the speech presenting the video, that yes, those games being shown are the ones that we are porting over to Amico.
Thank you, Genovi. Thank you for the input.
Yeah, so, I was trying to give Tommy a pass, trying to let him slide a little, but apparently Tommy talks way too much, and he said it himself at the thing. So, all right. Now that we've cleared that up, let's get back into the video. Have you watched any more of it, or are you still only 2 hours in?
No, I did not get to today. I did take a short lunch, so I did not get much viewing time in. But I've got a good feel for it. I'm enjoying watching this along with you. So this way, it's kind of like a fresh run for me. But I've seen these parts, so.
Please God, don't rewind for the love of God. No, that was it. I was correcting a little mistake I made. Hey, what's up, Oliver? Laughing my fucking ass off. Let me guess what killed Amico. Low interest and mismanagement. Just mismanagement. I wouldn't even say low interest because there was interest in there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't worldwide interest, but there was some interest in it. Just mismanagement completely kills it. Man, if I had the money that they had, you would have an Amico. Let me just say it. You would have the Amico.
Right.
All right. Let's get to it.
Hardcore gamers hate mobile games. I hate mobile games. Why? Do you feel threatened that other people are getting enjoyment who aren't like you? Isn't that being, in a way, racist? Are you a gaming racist?
The funniest thing about that is because there's a reason why people hate mobile games, and it's the loot boxes and the microtransactions.
Yeah.
All the things that Tommy's rallying against in his commandments are reasons why people don't like mobile gaming. And somehow he's bringing this up as a, like, don't be racist to mobile gaming.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it goes back to like where he was like, they showed him like talking shit about review or games or whatever. Is that the part that's coming up? I can't remember. I've already seen it. Where it goes back in time, showing Tommy talking shit, and he's like, "Well, who's a racist?" Maybe that's what's coming up next.
That's what's coming up next.
Okay, yeah.
A manufacturer took over 1.3 million USD because IE fucked up. Yeah. Well, I don't think they didn't take 1.3 million dollars. That's what's the word I'm looking for? Misinformation. It's misinformation. They took 1.3 million dollars in parts because the manufacturer bought the parts, right? Because they had to buy the parts, get everything ready and set up. And it's my understanding they had 1.3 million in like chips set aside that they bought, they purchased, and they were, all right, tell us to turn it on so we can start putting these Amicos together, and they're like, no, we're not ready. And they're like, well, there are parts now, right? According to the contract, you owe us the 1.3 million, and we're keeping the parts, basically.
Right.
Because, the company, was it ARC Manufacturing?
Yes.
They have certain agreements, certain relationships with distributors and stuff. So the deal that they would get, right, with the people supplying the chips is going to be a better deal than something Intellivision could get on their own, right? So for that 1.3 million, the amount of chips that ARC was able to secure would have been vastly superior to the amount that Intellivision would be able to secure. So they're not just going to give you the 1.3 million in chips, right? Like, oh, here you go. No, it's like, no, these are ours. We paid for these, right? You got to figure out how to get your own stuff. The 1.3 million, the number is just, it's easier than explaining this all in like articles and when people talk about it.
we could go a long way with this.
Right?
Yeah. Gaming racist. A description for someone out there that doesn't see the positive in what others enjoy and then go out of their way to stop other people enjoying it. So, for instance, if I said I didn't like High Heat Baseball 2003 and then I went out of my way to stop other people enjoying it, according to Tommy.
Oh, shit, I forgot to lower it. It's a little high.
I would be a gaming racist. Here's a clip of Tommy doing that exact thing.
What's the deal with High Heat Baseball 2003? High Heat.
If you defend this, I'm going to keep
No,
right
listen.
in the
I want to tell you. I want to explain the situation here. High Heat Baseball has always been the statistician's baseball game.
I disagree.
This combines that with also a graphical, playable rendition of the sport.
Playable?
This game has always held that sort of distinction, separate from like the All-Star Baseball, the World Series, and the triple plays out there. It has some nice features in there that baseball fans are going to love, but really, when you get into the game, it's just not a good playing baseball game.
Stunning graphics absorb you in the MLB experience? Lie. This game is ridiculous. Avoid at all costs. I like Trip Hawkins. I like Greedio. I hope they can do a better job. They obviously can't do a worse one. This game gets a 0.
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10.
Way too high.
On the positive side, we like the fact
No,
that
hold on. Stop right there.
Yeah.
No positives. There's no, that they have stats?
I'm going to say,
that's not a positive.
I'm going to say that the stats are the most detailed you're going to find in an arcade baseball game.
You know what's funny about this, Hammock?
What's that?
The graphics on the baseball game that the Amico showed off was crappier than the graphics on High Heat Baseball.
I know, right? That is funny. Oh, yeah. That's perfect. Good comment.
We're off to a bad start already. I left that comment up way too long. We got to end the stream. That's it. Screwed up. Got to start all over. I'll take one ham Italian. What? Extra olives. He looks like he's cosplaying Ace Ventura. He does.
Yeah, he does. A short one.
Come on. Why you gotta? Don't be heightist. You're a racist. You're a height racist.
A heightist. Yes.
You're racist against short people.
You can play this game online.
Even though it doesn't work. Well, how can you say you can play it online, dude? The thing doesn't work.
It does work. You can get on GameSpy Arcade and play on
Tommy does not like people like this. And if anyone goes out of their way to hate on the Amico in an attempt to make it fail, then they are, in his eyes, a gaming racist. You can also get religious racist, political racist.
I will say that no one, or most people, I won't say no one, because there's probably some people out there, but most people were not going out of their way to make it fail. We were simply pointing out the problems that we saw with the problem.
Yeah. It was the fact that like everybody was in lockstep with what Tommy was saying and saying all these great things, and kind of us on the outside were like, this doesn't jive though. This doesn't make sense. Like you had to say it. So it's not like that. I've always said all along I wanted it to succeed because I wanted to come out just so that we could see if it's really shitty or not. So yeah, we didn't want it to fail.
Yeah, we just thought it was going to fail.
Exactly. We weren't doing anything different than what Tommy was doing on this show, shitting on stuff.
Yeah, and I think we actually shit on it a lot easier.
Than what he was just doing.
Yeah,
what he was just doing. Yeah.
Racist and music racist, according to Tommy, on that same podcast too.
It's the same people like, I hate this religion or I hate that religion. Only my religion is the best religion. Well, then you're a racist to religion, aren't you? I mean, and of course, the biggest one being politics, and everybody's dividing themselves in politics and religion and, even music.
Anyway, let's move on through October after Intellivision celebrated Diwali and Halloween as we move into November. The company was a sponsor of a German developer award show, and they also confirmed that Warlords will eventually come to the system too. And new t-shirts go on sale. We get to see a fantastic, never-before-seen promo for the original system. We get confirmation that Jalico Reimagined games will be coming to the system. Hallelujah, Amico pillows and beanbag chairs will be coming soon too. Spoiler alert, that never happens. But most importantly, on the 6th of December, Intellivision officially released the Amico app, an app to download that is used not only to promote the system and specifically the upcoming game Moon Patrol, but for anybody out there that purchased the t-shirt, you can now use the augmented reality portion of the app.
All right. I have to stop right there because there's a big thing that Slopes completely missed, and we all completely missed, and I forgot about it until yesterday when I looked up my article that I wrote about the Amico. Do you remember what was the big deal about the Moon Patrol demo when it first launched?
No, I was not following it as closely as you guys were at that time, so I don't think I ever heard about it.
Okay, so when the Moon Patrol demo launched, it wasn't okay. So it's like one level, right? The Moon Patrol demo you could play.
You're right.
Like from A to whatever is like Z is the last letter, and you can go through it and you play the whole thing. But that's not what it was when it first launched. When it first launched, it was a 28-second demo.
Oh.
You could only play the game for 28 seconds. That's it.
Wow. I
don't know. I don't know how they thought that was a good idea. Or,
maybe that's all they had.
That's all that was available. It's all the only 28 seconds. Like after that, the game didn't work no more. It was all
yeah,
because it was 28 seconds. Because I even asked, I said, why would you release a demo that's 28 seconds? It makes no sense. And then I think I'll say maybe a month later, they got the full demo.
They listened to you.
So that original demo was 28 seconds, if you guys didn't know that.
To make it do a little jingle whenever you point it at said logo. Now, it's my understanding, and I didn't download this when it first came out, but you couldn't actually get to the game Moon Patrol until you got past this augmented reality stuff, which, if true, is a stupid idea, as 1, you don't need a t-shirt to do this. Any picture of the logo would do. And 2, not everyone knew that this was what you needed to do to get to the game. Thankfully, this startup thing was removed and people could just go ahead and play the Moon Patrol game straight up. The game itself was pretty good, in all fairness. It was very much a give it 10 minutes and you can see everything it has to offer sort of deal, but still, it was just a demo that didn't need an Amico controller to work, I might add. Regardless, it was fine. A good first step if you ask me. Let's just hope that the final game...
And then it had motion controls. Even though Tommy said it wasn't going to have motion controls, that motion controls on the Moon Patrol game would not work.
Mm-hmm. Did it have motion? It had motion controls on the demo on the phone? I don't remember it.
Yeah,
it
had both. Buttons. It had the buttons, and then they added motion control where if you leaned your phone forward, it would go. It would speed it up,
okay. Yeah, I do remember that. That's stupid.
28 seconds, so theoretically you could beat the game speed running. No, it was just once the 28 seconds was up, the game would just end. It'd be like, thank you for trying our demo, blah, blah, blah.
Has more to offer. And you know what? The same can be said for the next game they showed off too. The 9th of December brings with it a deeper look into the world of Breakout, easily one of my most anticipated games for the system, being that
Did you try this demo?
No. I did not.
I tried it. It's okay. Here's the problem with the demo. It's one level, right? And there's just way too much. I don't know if this was supposed to be a later level, or if this is supposed to be because it doesn't say oh, you're playing level 7 or you're playing level 30, right? It's just boom, you start up and you play level. There's so many power-ups that I was playing it, and eventually I got the shield, I got 3 balls, I got the laser, I got and it's just playing itself. Everything's going so fast, and it's because you got the shield, so the balls aren't missing. They're hitting the shield and bouncing back. So it was just playing itself. And okay, you beat the game, you beat the level. I was like, okay, that was fun until it started playing itself, right?
Well, it has to be easy for grandma to play.
Yeah.
See, in a game like this, like Breakout, and this is where the freaking controller really dropped the ball, is that it needs a dial that you can turn. And the Amico doesn't have that. It has like the little touch place, but you really need a dial to play like Breakout and Arkanoid.
Well, I think, and again, don't quote me on this, but I believe in the Breakout, you would actually use the touchscreen.
Oh my God. That's so bad.
Because it just goes up and down. There's nothing else to it.
Right.
So you would just slide your finger on the touchscreen, is my understanding.
Ugh,
like
what a miserable experience.
The same way, that's how we use the mouse. It was just up and down. So I think it was the same way with the touchscreen. Because it would make no sense. That dial doesn't work as a dial.
Yeah, I know. That's what they really fucked up on that. It should have been a dial. Like when I think it was Smash JT that confirmed that for us. Him or Turbo Joe, one of them confirmed that it did not turn. And I remember thinking that was like, what a fucking missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Especially for this kind of a game.
I did like the little English on the ball.
That's interesting.
And then the music going along with the hitting of the paddle and the blocks, like do 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 do, and makes the music go faster and stuff. That was good, but there's way too many power-ups. Way
too easy.
I am a retro whore, and this game was made by the guy from Choice Provisions, who are well known for the Bit Trip series. This game.
This is true, Potion. Tony has 3 balls confirmed. It's actually true, but it's not weird. It's not like a triangle. It's just 3 straight across. It's like 2 regular size. Well, they're big. So 2 big balls, and then like one, like half the size in the middle. It's not weird. Trust me. Ladies like it.
Thankfully, would eventually make its way onto PC in the form of a demo. Again, like the game before it, it's really not that bad at all. The problem is, again, it's done and dusted in 10 minutes. Still a nice look into what the future could have been, and was confirmed to be a launch title. Oh, God. Seriously, this video is making me so sad. Anyway, 10 months before release, and Intellivision publicly started looking for a new product manager. And, you guessed it, we get more game confirmations, this time of the horseshoe variety. Yes, horseshoe. To be fair, I would actually love to own this one for the sheer obscurity of it. This is something he teased again in July of 2020.
Again, I don't know why Tommy... Oh, I do know why, because Tommy's an idiot. But in my opinion, horseshoes, bocce, like lawn darts, and even bags, or cornhole, as you Americans call it, those games all should have been packed together as part of like a lawn games.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Amico lawn games, because they're all the same, right? It would be the same control scheme. And then you would think, people would be like, "Oh, I'm getting so much value. I'm getting like 5 different games, right? I'm getting lawn darts. I'm getting bowling. I'm getting lawn bowling. I'm getting bocce ball. I'm getting horseshoes. I'm getting bean bags. 5 games in one. Amico lawn games for $10. People would love it.
Now
you're thinking
like Nintendo, like with the Wii Sports bundle and stuff. Like,
yeah,
Tommy's not that smart.
No, because he wants to charge you $10 for each game.
Yeah, that's true. That too. He's greedy.
Really wanted a horseshoe game on the Amico. The 23rd rolls around and it's Christmas party time for Intellivision, and John Alvarado has only just gone and got himself Employee of the Year.
I think Intellivision Amico is going to shock people. I mean,
that was a Rocky trophy, right?
I did not get a. Couldn't hold on.
Yeah,
I didn't really pay attention to the trophy, honestly.
Damn it. Yeah, see the trophy.
Yeah, it is.
Only just gone and got himself Employee of the Year.
Yeah, see.
Roy Adrian.
Employee of the Year, John Alvarado. It's funny because he joined late in the year, and what did he do? Still don't know.
Sorry, I think Intellivision Amico is going to shock people. I mean it sincerely. I know Tommy's here. If you haven't played it yet, do you have it here? It's really fun. I mean, I got a private thing. It's really fun. I think people are way underestimating Tommy, and I think that is going to shock people. Okay.
Again, I'm going to call out Slopes. You're being way too easy on Michael Pachter. This man said the Amico was going to sell 1 million units in his first year. 1 million units.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
good it is.
Things really are going great for the company. Tommy confirms that Nintendo are watching.
Oh yeah. Also, Michael Pachter worked for the company that put together the investor pitch thing for Tommy. And included in the investor pitch was Michael Pachter saying that they were going to sell 1 million units in the first year. So the guy predicting they were going to sell 1 million units worked for the company that helped Intellivision put together their pitch deck.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Are doing, and news has hit Japan. We get to see the excellent redesign of the Intellivision skiing logo. Tommy confirms that he is in talks with Capcom for future Amico exclusive games. Rich from Review-Tech USA is seen wearing only the finest of Amico swag, and this brings us to the end of 2019. It's been quite...
I can't even imagine what games that Capcom would be like, yes, we're going to put on the Amico exclusive.
Yeah, dude.
Strider?
What would... Maybe.
Like that'd be it's the only thing. Where the one with the fucking the grappling hook. What the hell is that?
Oh, I can't remember. My mind's going blank. I know exactly what you're talking about, though. It was an early Nintendo release.
Fuck. Why can't I remember?
I know. I can't either. Yeah, dude. Oh, I can't remember it either. It's the game at the end where it's
Bionic
literally
Commando.
Yes, where you kill Hitler in the end.
There you go. That would be like the only thing, like Bionic Commando, because they're not going to put Mega Man. They're not going to put Street Fighter, right?
No. And yeah,
My Wife Is My Arm. Yeah, that's right. In the remake of Bionic Commando, where the bionic arm turns out to be his wife's personality.
Oh God, I never played that.
Yeah, he get in the new. The updated, it's like a 3D open world, not open world, but like 3D game. And he's got this arm. It's like it talks to him, right? Because got a little like voice thing in there. And then it turns out that it's his wife's personality or spirit or some shit.
Weird.
Yeah. It's a dumb as shit, but amazing. Yeah. We got a better skiing game from the guy trolling. You did Hater Pieced, which always sounds like Hater Piss to me.
Yeah,
that's probably would have went with a different name for skiing.
The year so far, and this is only the beginning. 2020 is the year that the Amico is going to get released, and they've only got 10 months and 10 days to do it. Let's go. To start us off, we get information regarding the Founders Edition over on Twitter. A individually numbered and signed vintage wood grain console with a $50 RFID metal golden ticket gift certificate, a Running Man poster, the opportunity to get your console a tad early, and the opportunity to fly to California to have a tour with the team and create/design a game. Only 2020 will be made. This eventually got changed to 2,600, low, and it was going to cost around about $299 in advance, kinda like a pre-order. Now, of course, this raised a few eyebrows, primarily because, one, Tommy said he would never ask people to invest into this machine before they had the chance to play it. And two, a certain couple of people, you know who, saw this as crowdfunding.
When it's a venture that when it's a company that hasn't put out a product before, and they're asking for pre-orders, it then falls into the same category as something like you want to bring up the Atari VCS, you can.
I'm going to push back. I like to say that. I'm going to push back. I'm Pat Ian. I understand what Pat's saying here. You know, it's an unproven company. They haven't made any products. I will say the caveat that he doesn't say, if Tommy and company was like, here they are, here's a pallet full of the wood grain Founders Editions, right? We need $300 pre-order. I wouldn't consider that crowdfunding because they exist, right? They're already made.
Right.
But in this case, they're taking the money and then they're going to build them. So it is crowdfunding. But I'm just saying that caveat should have been there. Like, you know, if they existed, then it really wouldn't be crowdfunding, but they don't exist yet. So
because you're asking for money for the promise of a product to come out. It's crowdfunding.
Extremely vague tech specs drop onto the website showing that the system is far from powerful. Granted, this is something that they've actually never suggested themselves. Kind of.
It will be easier for developers to create 2D games on the Amico than it is to create 2D games on, say, a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5.
Regardless, this system is still being talked about positively by pretty much every big YouTuber out there, as seen here in this awesome sizzle reel. You got John Riggs, Metal Jesus, John Hancock, RGT85, Mad Little Pixel, Tipster, and Rerez. I've spoken to all of these people, and they are very trustworthy, among many others. Not only is this done to raise awareness, but of course, even though it's not crowdfunding.
There's our buddy. Did you see our buddy was in there?
Riggs?
No, not Riggs. Where
I don't know
what was the last time with Riggs?
I know where you got him on the thing. That's why I was like, I didn't know what you were talking about.
And they are very trustworthy, among
our buddy, Abassa Lily.
Oh, I never knew what he looked like, honestly. He commented on one of my videos the other day.
Did he? No, I didn't shill for Tommy. You're in the fucking trailer, dude. You're in the trailer. You shilled. You were shilling hardcore for Tommy, how it was going to be a great system for schools and children, and the evils of non-vegan stuff. I don't fucking know.
Shill.
It was full on shill. Also, most of those people in that trailer didn't realize they were in the trailer until like afterward.
Right.
Tommy never told them. Never gave them the courtesy heads up. Like,
of course.
Many others. Not only is this done to raise awareness, but of course, even though it's not crowdfunded, these sorts of things are done to obviously bring in more investors.
Super Nintendo. He barely talked. I think he made 4 videos in the course of 5 years,
which we will get to in a little bit.
It's going to become the best-selling console of all time.
Speaking of raising money, it's still great news for the company as Tommy claims that they have just secured a cool
$150 million
for manufacturing. And even better, that
$150 million.
But it's for pipeline manufacturing, so they can manufacture pipes. See, that's what we missed. It wasn't for Amico manufacturing, it was for pipes.
Isn't part of the
$30 million
they raised to get it to launch. Wow.
$180 million.
Ain't no way they messing this up.
David Levy says, Tipster is trustworthy? Sure, I trust him to manufacture slanted drama. Yeah. He's trustworthy to side with his friends, and then when it gets pointed out that Lady Decade was lying, to pretend like it never happened, and then sweep it under the rug. I trust him to do that.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bassa Lily finally accepted that Tommy's not vegan. No, probably not. I wonder if Bassa Lily stopped commenting on underage vegan females and whether or not they're fat.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He was trying to body shame vegans, and then it's a whole thing with him. He's a weird individual.
Also, let's add the remake of Thunder Castle to the list, and Royal Chase, and Las Vegas Poker, and Blackjack, and Golf, and Texas Hold'em, and finally a family-friendly Mutant League game. Wow, that's 7 new games.
Yeah, how the hell are you going to make a family-friendly Mutant League game? Have you ever played the Mutant League games?
Hang on a second. I'm having a little bit of issues here.
So if anyone's not, have you ever played a Mutant League football or Mutant League hockey? All right. He's apparently fallen out of the hammock. If you guys haven't played Mutant League hockey or...
Okay, there we go. Now I'm back. I'm good. Sorry, what did you say? Mutant League football? I thought I heard you say.
Tommy said they're going to get a family-friendly Mutant League game on the Amico. I said, how would that work? Have you ever played
family-friendly?
There's blood,
I've never played it, but
violence.
I've seen it. I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Cheating.
Yeah.
All the bad things. It's like Mortal Kombat meets football, right? There's no way you can make a family friendly. Then it's no longer Mutant League. Right?
Yeah, why would you want to?
Yeah.
Stupid.
6 of which are all teased, rumored, or flat out confirmed in a single day. Can you see why the Atari Age forums were just so goddamn popular? It's the place where Tommy not only confirmed that focus testing took place, but also...
This is a comment from Mr. Beefy. He says, the Atari motto is hardware is hard. It's funny how it's worth their time to produce new dance games for the Wii. I think it'll be interesting to see the marketing unfold here in a few months. Beefy was getting into it.
The results, surprisingly, every single person loved the system and would ask for it for Christmas for $229. All those haters out there that are skeptical about this system, they are very much deserving of a retaliation video once this thing comes to market. I'm only joking. Only a psychopathic CEO of a multi-million-dollar company would ever have all the Amico will fail videos in a folder and will enjoy making a video of all of the negative initial reactions. Oh dear. Let's hope that that isn't true. Oh well, another day, another chance to get the fanboys all excited, which is exactly what happened when Tommy showed off this lovely running gif of Earthworm Jim on Twitter. Another podcast, this time it's with Next Level Gaming, where he shows off the early printed case for the machine.
Whoa. That's the original Next Level Gaming. Come on. Don't insult Mike Mullis like that just by calling him Next Level Gaming. It's the original.
The original.
Oh, there it is.
See the light and stuff and the way it works. I'll show you around the back. No one's ever seen this before.
Yeah.
He also confirms that the reason the system...
Is that you, Hammock, or them? I can't tell who's moaning.
It was me. I was pretending to be one of them.
Because they were also moaning along with him.
I know.
I don't think half of these people. I think Mike Mullis is probably the only one who I've seen after this video.
Yeah, I don't recognize any of the others.
Has now increased in value is because people will think it's not good enough at only $150. Remember that market research from a few days ago? The price increase is the result of that. And they changed the screen from a resistive touchscreen to a competitive touchscreen, among other things.
And people were like, "Oh, it's $150. I guess it's not good then." Like that. Let's say, no, it is good.
We also get hints that the original Echo team are back again for that new spiritual successor to the franchise.
I'm gonna go crazy here for a second. So let's go to Dreamland here for a second. Wouldn't it be amazing? What if Spencer Nielsen and Tommy Amico were to get together?
This is so cringe.
Soundtrack for a new Echo game.
That's it. I'm done.
It's so funny because Sega owns the rights to Echo and not Ed Annunziati, so they couldn't even get a new Echo game.
Yeah. Well, he did say, "Wouldn't it be something?"
Wouldn't it be something?
That's when Tommy's about to spout bullshit.
Rub them holes, boys. Yeah.
Surprisingly, he also confirms that.
Have you scrapped any games yet that weren't passing the quality level you expect from the developers? The answer is yes. At E3, we had 22 playable games. We came out of E3 holding on to 17 of them. So 5 of them didn't make the cut to keep going. Yeah. So
6.
We're dedicated to this. We're not joking around.
Wow.
So he showed off 22 games. He cut 5. Why did he think those 5 were good enough before E3? Right? What happened at E3 that made him change his mind about those 5 games? Right? That's the follow-up question I would have asked. I would have been no, but if he said that, right? He was like, "Hey, we had 22 games, and now we only got 17 because 5 of them after E3 didn't pass muster." I'd be like, "Well, what was the difference? What happened? Can you be specific on why you took them to E3 because you thought they were good enough to go to E3, but when you left E3, suddenly they were no longer good enough, right? Were you just bringing whatever you had? Like, oh shit, we got to bring something to E3."
Yeah.
And 22 is more impressive than 17, so fuck it, just slap those extra 5 in there. Now, those 5 games didn't follow the commandments. That's probably what it was.
Hey, he definitely isn't playing around. But then he also says that Qbert and other Sony properties are coming to the system too.
Craziness is about to ensue. So there's a lot of different versions of Sony. There's Sony Computer Entertainment. They do with PlayStation, but then there's Sony Pictures, right? Like Sony Columbia Music. Sony Pictures does Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So Sony reached out to us and
I don't think that's true what Tommy's saying right there.
What, Sony owning Wheel of Fortune and stuff?
No, he says Sony Pictures does Wheel of Fortune on it. They own, right? Sony Pictures owns those properties that they then license out to other companies to make the games, right? So,
gotcha.
It's one of those cases of Tommy saying something without knowing what the hell he's saying.
Yeah.
And then no one calling him like, "No, Tommy, that doesn't make sense. Sony Pictures doesn't make games. So Sony Pictures doesn't do those games, right? They handle the IPs, the licenses, and then the other companies make the games. And it's usually a shitty company that, it's like, oh, look, Bill's developer Let's give them the fucking license to, because it's fucking Wheel of Fortune. How they can't fuck this up.
Yeah, it's a simple game.
Said, hey, we'd like to put Qbert on. Let's figure out a way where we can put Qbert on the system. So we're talking to Sony right now about putting Qbert and some of their other properties on our system.
Lemmings? No.
Who owns Lemmings? Is that
Sony
Lemmings too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm going to talk to him about that for sure. Multiplayer Lemmings, got to do it.
Yes, it'll be interesting.
Let's move on. Past the point when Spy vs. Spy is added to the list of upcoming games. Past the point where he talked about opening an office in China.
We have offices in Europe. We have an office in Dubai. We're looking at China right now. We might have a big announcement in a few weeks about opening an office in China in television.
That didn't happen.
No.
In China.
Past the point where he teased Daystalker. Not sure if he typed this wrong or if it's a new kiddie version of Night Stalker. Regardless, let's get it on the list to the point when we get to see more gameplay footage of the game itself, as in Night Stalker, not Daystalker. Again, it genuinely looks pretty damn good. A nice upgrade from the original game, as I'm sure.
I don't think it looks good.
I like it. I kind of like it. It's
to me,
I think it's a good upgrade.
Well, I never played the original, right? So, spoiler alert: I've never played the original Night Stalker. But just looking at this and with everything moving, it was just so busy. It was just so.
It is pretty busy. I mean, it could probably be toned down a little bit, but the idea, I kind of like the idea because I do like the Night Stalker game.
I was almost getting motion sickness just watching that. Like, and then
it's a little extreme. You're right. I like I just like the more 3D look of it, but I don't really need all the bells and whistles, the flashing. It does look, but it's probably not like that nonstop. That's probably like a really big explosion moment.
That looks okay, not gonna lie. Yeah. Well, we all know how Days feels about Wheel of Fortune.
Hey man, I've got 3 Wheel of Fortune games to play.
You know what I just
or
beat
2?
Today?
No, I have 2. I know what you fucking beat.
What I beat today? Because it was a game that everybody was complaining about. It was so hard and so difficult.
It's hard for me, but I'm not the greatest gamer.
Castlevania 3. I beat it with the Alucard route.
Alucard, it's Dracula backwards.
Yeah, I know. So I beat it with him. It's funny because to take a little tangent, but the Dracula fight, the first section or whatever you want to call it, like when he's doing the flames, I thought that was the hardest part. Right?
Really?
Because you're stuck in between the little flame pillars, and then you got to move before the third one pops up, so you don't get hit.
That's the same battle from the first one.
And then after you beat him, right, then he explodes. He turns into like this big thing of like faces. That was easy. You just avoid all the drips, knock all the faces out. That blows up. Then he turns into the giant bird statue. And that I just, with the axe, just jump, axe. Laser goes, move out of the way, jump, axe, laser goes, move out of the way. It was simple. But that first one was tough. What gave me trouble. Yeah. No viruses? Awesome. Do you have the Wheel of Fortune board game? Aston Banda wants to know.
Yes, I do. I've never played it, but I do have it.
Sure, you will all agree. Shame about the Android buttons in the trailer, though, at the end. Let's hope they don't appear in the final product. Back on the Atari Age forums, Tommy
denies all claims that he asked Pat and Ian to sign an NDA regarding the Amico.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to go really far into the future for this bit, but when I eventually started speaking to Tommy, I gave him a little bit of business advice. I said to him, you should get people, me and others that you're talking to about the Amico, to sign an NDA. He actually thought it was a really good idea, but he never did it. We finally get to see what the lenticular poster is going to look like for those founder-backing pre-order fans.
I love the poster because they never updated it, and it always said 2020, and then they're just like,
yeah,
okay, we already made the posters. So there's some posters that exist out there with the 2020 date, collector's item.
Yes,
as well as the pin and the patch, but more importantly on YouTube.
22.
There it is.
Son of a bitch, I'm dying.
Too many monsters.
No, I tried to sneak a wafer. You know, like when you bite into a wafer, then you get the little.
Yeah, they're really dry.
Yeah. Yeah, so the patches say 2020, and he showed them off. That they actually did make them. And then they never updated them because it never launched.
Old John Alvarado gives us a demonstration of dice being rolled on the controller and then being poured out onto the big screen. Now, look, let me just say, this is pants. Why? Well, one, they're not even showing off the controller. It's a phone. So therefore, this functionally is not part of the "it will only ever work on the Amico controller" sales pitch. Two, unless you're rolling them onto a small screen, it's never going to look right. And three, again, this really isn't very impressive at all because your TV doesn't have a sensor on it. So therefore, like the Wii did, all it's doing is looking for your controller and looking for you to turn it upside down. And then they will appear on the screen. It's not impressive, guys.
I always thought that the dice rolling was interesting if they could actually, and I even said it in the interview with Tommy, like if you have physics for the dice, right? Because I don't know if you realize how dice rolling works in video games, but when you press the button and then it rolls the dice, it already knows before the animation's all done, all the calculations are done.
Oh, sure.
So it knows.
But so it could tell by like how hard you were rolling it. Is that what you were going to try to say? Like if you threw it harder, it would go harder.
Yeah, so that's what I was like.
Right.
If it had
that would be
physics where the dice rolled around, they hit into each other, and you didn't know until it actually settled, then the game would be like, okay, that's a 7, that's an 8, or whatever, right?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Better.
Definitely.
Because the way it is now, it's an algorithm and stuff, and I think even in like Mario Party, they figured out that like, well, if you do this, then the next dice roll is going to be a 6, right? And if you do this, and then you stop here and you like jump 3 times, then it tells the game value. Yeah. It's like,
oh my God, people are so crazy.
And they get, because they deep dive into the games and they take them apart and stuff.
Right.
But if it had actual real physics, you would never be able to do that. You'd never be able to cheat the system or game the system, right? You'd be rolling.
Yeah, it's just random every time. That would be cool.
And also, spoiler alert, this has never been seen to be working on an Amico controller. And when you see the specs of those controllers, you'll question if it ever could. What does look good, however, is Astro Smash, of course. Everyone's opinions are going to be differing here, but as a retro...
I don't think this is the first version of Astro Smash. You can tell the little Astro Smashers, or whatever the hell you want to call them. They're identical. They haven't got the unique little versions of the cars. Yeah, colors. I didn't like this line. It's hard to see because of the stupid YouTube bar. But that white line on the bottom, it brings you out of it because it's like, oh, this is where they're at, right? They're on this pretend bridge that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And then all the background, like it doesn't add up, right? Because this is all forest, and they're just like on this nice clear line.
Yeah, it just looks like it doesn't look like they're part of the background. Like it's just overlaid onto it.
Yeah. Tommy lied. I'm crushed. Crushed, I tell you.
Oh my God.
Dang, Tony, we're still on the 4-hour video. Yes. It's gonna be. Put the coffee on. We're going long tonight.
This was yet again one of the exclusive games I was looking forward to playing. Credit where credit is due. If you ask me, it was one of the games that got people excited for the system and helped them sell out of the Wood Grain Founders Editions that went on sale today. Yep, they fully sold out. 1,000 went in 5 minutes, 1,500 in 15 minutes, 2,000 were gone in an hour, 2,300 in 3 hours, 2,500 in 5 hours, and then they shut it off at the 6-hour mark when 2,600 got sold. And crazier still, they could have sold 10,000 of these things, which took Atari weeks to do.
I don't think they could have. I don't think they could have sold 10,000 of them. Not the way the numbers were going, right? Because they started off real strong, and then it really slowed down. Like, if they were going to sell 10,000, it should have kept going on this like upward trajectory.
Trajectory.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Because what were the numbers?
Easier still, they could have sold.
No, that's so 1,000 in 5 minutes, right? And then by the 15-minute mark, they only sold 1,500. So 5 minutes, 1,000, 10 more minutes, and they sold half that. Right?
Yeah.
And then it took them after that. So we're at the 15 minutes.
Another 45
minutes to sell 500 more. By hour 3, so they took 2 hours. So then it took 2 hours to sell 300. And then it took another 2 hours to sell 200. And then it took almost another hour to sell 100. Yeah, I think you might have petered in at around 5,500 eventually. Like if you left it running long enough, right? But I don't think 10,000. No, when it happened, this was your rush. Your 1,000 was everyone like, oh, we gotta go.
That was it. Yes.
Man, these numbers don't. This is not on pace to sell. I bet you I broke this down. Just looking at it, shit, it would took about 9 days to sell 10,000 if it kept on this track.
If.
So no. Farkle's the system seller. That's what it was. Farkle wasn't ready. I don't think we haven't gotten to the part where Slopes is cross-dressing.
No.
And then they shut it off at the 6 hour mark when 2,600 got sold. And crazier still, they could have sold 10,000 of these things, which took Atari weeks to do over on Indiegogo.
Not doing more than 2,600 will also hopefully lay to rest the ridiculous hater notion that we were being sketchy or only doing this for the money, or whatever the conspiracy theory of the day was.
Time for another game to be added to the list. This time, it's Tropical Trouble Reimagined. And the same month that Larry Chen joins the company, that's the 25th person to join the company, by the way, and there are definitely a whole lot more.
There are over 300 people.
Tommy is kicking off over on Atari Age, as there's a brand new newcomer, Tony TGD. Tommy explains that...
Wah, wah.
That's me. I can die now. We can stop watching it. I was mentioned in the video. We can all go home.
Finally got your mention.
I got my mention. It only took how many years?
Parental controls on the Nintendo Switch are too complex for some parents, and therefore they don't put them in place, which is less than ideal, as the Switch has more adult content than both Sony and Microsoft's offering. I quote,
"The Switch has the most adult, violent, mature, and even irreverent content that the others do not."
And this is something he has brought up several times.
One of the big issues I have with the Nintendo Switch is that there's more pornographic material and violent material and killing than any other system out there. Well, let me repeat that. There's more killing and violent material, because when you think of Nintendo, you think of family, right? And
see, this is where Tommy loses me, right? And this is what really pissed me off in the beginning. You're overselling it. Is there violence on Nintendo? Yes. But to say that there's more violence, right? Now you're overselling it. There's not more violence. You know how I know there's not more violence? Because there's more games on the PlayStation than there was on the Nintendo at that time, right?
Right.
And most of the games on the PlayStation are violent in some capacity, right? You know, your action games, your shooters, and all that.
Right.
But you know, there's articles. You can read the articles in the Wall Street Journal where Sony played.
One of the articles that Tommy used was from an alt-right website, which is what got me banned from the Tommy thread, by the way, by mentioning that the article he was using was from an actual legitimate 100% alt-right website, a website. And why I say it's alt-right, because the website actually quoted from the Daily Stormer. If you don't know what the Daily Stormer is, it is a legitimate Nazi propaganda website.
Wow.
So
good,
Tommy,
good use of if your source from that place.
And I was pointing it out. All I did was say, hey, that source you're using is not a good source because it's an alt-right website. And they said, hey, no politics. But it's not politics. I'm informing you of what this is, right? Like, these people are crazy. You probably don't want to link a crazy website onto Atari Age. Is basically what I was saying. And I got banned. And full disclosure, the reason I know is because I worked for the crazy website.
Oh.
In the past. Before I knew it was a crazy website.
It
didn't start off crazy. Eventually, the owner turned crazy. And at that point, I was like, oh, this guy's crazy. And I quit. So that's how I knew about the website to begin with.
PlayStation and Microsoft restrict. They won't show certain things on their platform. Nintendo does. So you can get the same game on PlayStation and Nintendo, and the full genitalia, child rear, molestation.
Not true.
Jesus.
What he's saying is not true. One of the games mentioned was LA Noire, which was completely uncensored on both the Switch and the PlayStation and the Xbox.
drug use. That stuff is shown on the Switch version and not on the PlayStation version. It's crazy.
I didn't know that. Wow. Well, I just play Luminous on my Switch, so that's
that's a great game.
He did the same to me when I spoke to him, and I kind of do understand the angle he's going for here. I mean, I have created a couple of jokey videos myself looking at perverted video games for the Switch, one of which has even got demonetized due to its content. But from my research, nothing is based around child yoke. It's a real stretch based on what is on that system. Violence, yes, of course, plenty of it. Lewd stuff, again, plenty of it. In the game Peach Ball, you need to bounce your pinball against the girl's almost naked body. In Dead or Alive, Extreme Beach Volleyball, you have a mode that allows you to take pictures of the girls. Panty Party comes with a pair of panties. Although, to be fair, the game itself couldn't be further away from Tommy's claims. It's just a third-person game where you control a flying pair of knickers. It really is no different than a kid's book.
With his accent, he really shouldn't have said the word knickers.
Knickers?
Yeah, just playing it at high speed almost sounds
bad.
Like a bad word. Traumatized the guy? Yeah. Tony met Carl on the wacky website? No, I didn't. I met Carl on YouTube. For being a 50-year-old childless child, he tried too hard to try and act like he knew crap about families. I'm not near his age and know way more than he ever will. Yeah. And that took me so long to read because of all the typos, Beefy. I know you're upset typing away. Yeah, Tommy didn't have family. He didn't have kids. He didn't have to worry about these things. And I'm not it's not like a criticism like, oh, grow up and have children or whatever, right? I'm like, yeah, be a man child, whatever. But you don't know certain things because you don't have kids. You didn't have to, he didn't sit there and watch Sesame Street with kids. He doesn't know what the new hot properties are on Nickelodeon and Kids Network and stuff, right? Like you were out of touch. You're sitting there, trying to put the Hair Bear bunch on fucking Amico.
Hair Bear. Did he really?
No, that was the first thing that popped in my head. I couldn't think of an old brand. Just dating myself there.
Love you. Hair Bear bunch.
I love you too.
I love you too, Tony.
We always catch you. You could just mute your mic when you say.
I should have. I know. I was trying to be quick and quiet while you were talking, but of course you heard me.
I heard you.
Book that has the word pants on it or bums on it, simply because it's funny to say the word underpants. And the infamous Gal Gun series is a collection of games where you shoot the pheromone gun at your high school friends, which results in them collapsing in ecstasy. And these are the games that he's talking about. Well,
and Gal Gun is available on the PlayStation. It has the same amount of censorship. I think part of the issue is Sony America and Sony Japan treat their games differently. Sony America has been cracking down in the last 10 years, I would say, on certain things. The same way Steam cracks down on certain things. Do we want to watch this part of him trying on the Gal Gun stuff, or could we just skip it?
The chat seems to want to, but I don't care. I mean, I fast forwarded through it earlier because I was just trying to get to the good stuff.
Now, those typos are a joke. They were innuendo. G's, take it. All right, Tommy. Calm down, Tommy. Slow down this part to 0.75. No. David Levy says, I found this segment's inclusion inexplicable. It has nothing to do with the Amico. It interrupts the actual documentary for no apparent reason. Yeah, they sent him the stuff, so I guess he felt obligated to open them on stream.
Yeah, probably.
In the video. It does, like I said, I get the point he was trying to make, but it runs way too long.
He probably was it was like thinking that maybe he needed to do something to spice up the documentary with it being 4 hours. Maybe he thought that some people would think it would drag on.
The do-it-yourself tentacles. Look at that. This is the part that Jesse wants to watch.
Fit me.
All right.
I'm not getting sponsored for this video.
So
no, I'm going to rip it. Oh no! There we go. There's a book, and I have looked in the book. The book is a little risque. It is censored. What else is in the birthday suit edition? Got some pins and a coin. Very nice, very nice. Back when I used to put soundtracks to games in my videos, this was a soundtrack that was pretty good. It's a pretty good soundtrack, I will say that. Postcards, and then another inlay for the game. Yeah. I can't pick anything up. There it is. Gal Gun stain. Yeah. Now, after doing a bit more research and speaking with publishers on the Switch, it may be surprising to you that Sony requires more censorship in recent years than Nintendo does in specific regions. That is a fact. Take Nekapura, for instance, a visual novel that is again more censored on Sony's platform than it is on Nintendo's, removing the jiggling physics and cutting out entire sections because of Sony's tighter grip on censorship. So, in short, yes, rude.
But again, pushing back a little, Nekapara is heavily censored on the PlayStation. It is also censored on the Switch. The Steam version is also censored. However, you can go off-site on Steam and get the official patch that puts back in the extremely adult scenes that were cut.
Oh, of course you knew that.
No, I only knew that because someone mentioned it in one of the comments.
Sure.
I read a comment. It wasn't me. I have no idea about any loot games. I don't play any. I just play Luminines on my Switch.
Games do exist, and obviously violent games do exist for the Switch, but to go after the games that I'm talking about here and the games that Tommy is talking about here, you're not going to be able to go into any random shop and pick these up. You're not going to find these next to Mario Kart, Mario Party, stuff like that. You're going to have to go online and find them, and they're not easy to find because of their obscurity and their limited print run. And, well, two, to go as far as to call these games, or sorry, scrub that, child games, come on. And you know what my daughter's been playing on the Xbox recently? Peppa Pig. You can't get more child-friendly than bloody Peppa Pig, right? And no, I'm not going to be showing you gameplay footage because, I mean, come on, who would do that? Back on the Atari Age forum, Tony TGD asked him to clarify either why he's lying about the competition or to give evidence of these child rape games.
Once again, you show your complete lack of professionalism and journalistic ability with the way you go about your business and word your questions. This is exactly the point I've been making to you. You are rude, unprofessional, obnoxious, and negative. Calling me a liar because you yourself don't do any research.
Again, look, I do see what Tommy is trying to say. I have a kid and I have had to show the parental control app to other uneducated parents. And it's obviously not already on your phone when you take a Switch out of its box. And of course, as explained, the system does have lewd content. But the way Tommy's explaining it makes you think that this stuff is the norm and way worse than it actually is, which it definitely isn't. Take Pornhub, for example. Does the existence of pornographic material online mean that I am never going to let my kids use the internet themselves? Of course not. I just got to keep an eye on what they can and can't view on the internet. His critics may be going in hard, but Tommy's responses are even harder. And this is just one of many examples of where Tommy's fan base, aka the Amico cult, end up fighting the corner for him, which of course in retaliation brings in more Amico haters. Both sides are getting stronger.
Also, if you expect me to continue answering any questions,
I just want to say that he actually read that in real time in the background when Slopes was talking.
Yeah.
That wasn't just him making noise. That wasn't just Joey Freeze making
noise.
I
know.
I'm just saying for the people that might not have realized, that's how long the comment was. And that was perfect. They timed it perfect. Slopes timed his little spiel perfect to put over it. Chef's kiss. Beautiful, beautiful.
A public apology in this forum for calling me a liar. I want you to admit that you were wrong in your assessment and you were rude and unprofessional in branding me a liar because of your own misguidance. Until then, don't bother posting any more questions after this, as I will ignore them. You're a real piece of work.
Spoiler alert, he didn't ignore any of my following posts. I also said,
of course not.
I said, Tommy, I didn't call you a liar. I just said you were lying. He didn't like that either.
Oh, no.
There was a whole back and forth over this. And then what Slopes missed in the back and forth over this, Tommy actually posted images that he claims are from those child yoke games. Those child bad people games, right?
Yeah.
So we post them, and I said, Tommy, are these this is child bad man stuff, right? I said, yeah, this is child bad man stuff. I said, Tommy, you just posted child bad man stuff publicly on the internet. So no, I said, well, according to you, this is child bad man stuff, right?
Yeah.
You just admitted to possessing it and then posting it publicly on the internet. Should we call the cops on you? And then that's when everyone was like, well, what I mean is, and all the explanations in the back.
Oh, we were hemming and hawing.
Yeah. So that right there was just proof that what Tommy was saying was blown out of proportion. And the point that I was always trying to make, right, is when you hear those words, child bad man stuff, right? There's a certain image in your head. You're thinking real live people. You're not thinking anime, right? If I went to like 100 people and asked them, I said, "Hey, Nintendo has child Batman stuff. What do you think I mean?" They would say, "Oh, real pictures and stuff, real videos, real movies." Not, "Oh, anime girls," right? They wouldn't think that. So I said, "You're saying these words, and it puts an image in people's brain. That's what the issue is, right? You can say, hey, there's stuff on there that I'm not comfortable with, or it's a little too risque, a little too adult, or whatever. I'm there with you, right? I'm there. I don't like all this stuff. I think some of it goes a little too far for my taste. But at the end of the day, it's legal, and it's up to them to put it on there, right? Nintendo bad, Tommy good, yeah, or just that. Just say that. Your mind filling in the blanks worse than what it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I always say that the best horror movies are the ones that don't show you anything, right? Like when you see, say, what the hell is his name? Leatherface. Leatherface grabs a chick by the hair and he drags her off screen, and then the other person's the other person's hiding, and you just hear like Leatherface like just hitting her in the head. Like you don't even know what's going on. You just hear like noises and like guts getting opened up and stuff. And your brain starts going, "Oh shit, what the hell is he doing?" And you start filling in the blanks. That's more scary to me than actually seeing it, because it's not real, right? I know that this is not a real lady being opened up and her guts are being strewn about. But if all you're doing is hearing it and your brain has to now fill it in, I think that's more terrifying, personally.
Agreed.
All right, let's get back to the video.
Tommy then continues to answer his questions, which I will not read out in full as this video is already long enough. All you got to know is that Tony TGD will eventually be banned from the forum, but not before he truly gets under Tommy's skin. And then Tommy Tallarico, the CEO of Intellivision, retaliates in one of the most ridiculous ways. This is so ridiculous. Tony TGD doesn't believe that Intellivision has the MLB license, as Sony recently extended their contract, and therefore, in his eyes, the dates just simply don't line up. And after questioning this, Tommy, to put it lightly, loses his shit. In a fit of rage, Tommy decides to bet the CEO of Intellivision position with Tony TGD. If he couldn't prove that they have the license, he will give that position to Tony TGD, the Amico hater. And if he can prove that Intellivision does have the license, Tony TGD is never allowed to talk about the Amico again. The CEO of Intellivision, ladies and gentlemen. So how did this all work out then? Well,
how did this all work out? Well, he skips. He just goes the beginning and the end, and he kind of skips all the stuff in the middle. But we're we're going to fill you in after we get to all this.
Supposedly, because the contract.
Also, I was pointed out by Slopes to notice that it says booty grease. And it says Ferrari on Tommy's.
Yeah, he did say he likes to put little things in like that.
Yeah. And that is my look. That's my physique, by the way. That is my body.
Mm-hmm.
Between MLB and Intellivision are, of course, confidential. Tommy rightfully couldn't just go around showing it to anyone. And therefore, he just made a bet to prove something that he couldn't prove. Well, not until a public announcement, at least. Sadly for him, Tommy claimed that because of COVID, the announcement was delayed, even though none of that mattered. All he needed to do was to prove he had the license in March when the bet was made.
Okay, so what happened? It wasn't in March, so that was wrong already. It was in February when the bet was made. What happened was Tommy said, we're going to announce in the next press release, we're going to announce MLB, right? Next press release comes along. There's no announcement. I said, Tommy, I won the bet, right? No announcement. I win the bet. That's it. He goes, well, no, because we have the license, but we're holding off on announcing it till closer to baseball season, right? I said, okay. I said, because I'm such a good guy. I said, okay, Tommy. He says we're going to announce it closer to baseball season. All right. So then closer to baseball season comes around, and what happens in 2020? Hammock Man's apparently not here. But in 2020, baseball season was canceled. And so, obviously, the MLB didn't get announced. Then we fast forward a little more, and Tommy's hemming and hawing, and we're going to announce it. We're going to announce it. Eventually, they do announce it. They announce it. They say, hey, we got the license to MLB. I said, okay, Tommy, you got the license. Now you have to prove that you had the license when, it was, the bet was made. He said, well, I can't prove, Eventually, Tommy goes, well, we got the paperwork. I will show you the paperwork. He goes, Tony, I will send you the paperwork to prove that we had the license when we made the bet. I said, okay, Tommy. And that's what we agreed to. That was the final version of the bet. Tommy was going to send me the paperwork to prove that he won.
Right.
And then he didn't do it. He ended up sending it to Enosh and Mad Max via Twitter DMs. And then there was something very odd in the statements they made. Sweet and Tender's been hinting at it. The effective date. There's actually two things that were odd. Besides the effective date, they didn't actually read the contracts to say that he had the license to make games. Because it occurred to me that Tommy could have got the license for the MLB to, make those, what the hell, the controller things, the little stickers they had on the controllers.
Yeah.
Overlays or whatever they called them.
Mm-hmm.
He could have had the MLB license for other things, for merchandising, not necessarily for a game, right? For the baseball cards. So it's a little funny on what happened.
To win the bet, aka not lose his position as CEO, and I don't know, more importantly to him, get rid of his biggest hater. One day on a random live stream, Tony TGD appeared in the chat and asked for him to own up to his side of the bet. And Tommy does that exact thing by sharing the confidence.
See, it's February 3rd, not May 3rd. Because Tommy kept trying to say May 3rd. It's February 3rd.
Potential contract with the hosts of the podcast.
Guys, can you look in your Twitter feed right now and read me the date on the top of the Major League Baseball contract, please? Go check. I just sent it to you on Twitter.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to send him our Major League Baseball contract. That's,
February 1st. February 1st. 2020.
February
The effective
1st.
date.
But hear what Enosh said? The effective date. And as we know, contracts can be written to be retroactively effective. And that's why you put a word like effective date. Because if we sign it, let's say you're working on a game, Hammock, right? You're working on Tony's Super Tony Brothers, right? You're working on that game. And you come to me and say, hey, I got Super Tony Brothers. You want to publish it? And I say, yeah. But in order for you to get paid for it, right, I have to pay you for the work that you did prior to you coming to me, right?
Right.
So we signed the contract, and the effective date is March or January, right? We'll say January 2023 is the effective date. That way, everything you've done from January until now, it'll be part of the contract. I'll own the rights to all the stuff you worked on. You can't say, hey, well, I did this before we signed the contract, right? That's how these things work. And so that's what I suspect happened here, is that they got the contract afterward and then said, hey, well, we want to put the effective date earlier so we get credit for all the work that we did, and so that this is owned and, the license and all that.
And so that he can win the bet against you. Oh, what a piece of shit.
Effective date, February, right, because we put it together on this, I think it's December.
Yeah, I see it. I'm not lying. I see it.
See, that makes no sense. We put it together in December, but then we put the effective date 2 months ahead of time.
Yeah, it's weird.
That would no. You would sign the contract, and maybe the effective date might have been January 1st. Maybe if you were signing it on the 30th, say, hey, it doesn't. You haven't started work yet, so don't start work until tomorrow. But you're not going to do that 2 months ahead of time. No.
I see it. February 1st.
So there you go. So
Tony, we can talk about X Series X and PS5.
Yeah, he just can't talk about Amico or me ever again. Don't spread.
Oh man, I can't talk about Tommy ever again, guys. He was never going to own up to the bet.
Oh fuck no.
That was just a silly misunderstanding. They had the license for MLB, but not that MLB for the animated Miraculous Ladybug, even better than Major League Baseball. Some would argue, yeah. Trump and Tony won. I did. I was robbed. I want to recount. Stop the vote.
that contract around, guys?
No,
Obviously, that's very,
I saved it. I saved it.
They didn't save it. Neither one of them saved it. They both got rid of it.
Well, Max was joking.
No, I'm just saying that they could potentially download their Twitter archives and dig it up.
Come on, Max. Come on, buddy.
Come on, Enosh. One of you guys. You can do it.
No.
Yeah, but never show that publicly. That is not for public consumption, obviously.
No.
That was just to prove a bet here.
Oh, wow. This is the CEO of Intellivision. Let's just continue with the timeline. Tommy confirms an air hockey game is coming to the Amico. Tommy also confirms an Animal Crossing like.
Has there ever been an air hockey game like that was its own thing?
No, it's always part of something. Or it's like some shit mobile game, maybe, but
yeah, get Max to do it. I should get Max to do it.
We don't have to show it or anything, but we can just peruse it.
Yeah, I just want to see the date. I just want to prove. But you know what? Even if I prove it, what's going to happen? They're like, yeah, you're the CEO. Here's all the debt you owe.
Yeah, you don't want that shit, but at least you would know for your own peace of mind.
Game is also coming to the Amico, and on the 6th of February 2020, we were privileged with a tour of the Amico headquarters that not only shows us some early prototypes, but more importantly, Tommy himself states that the company still has not handed over the bill of materials for the system.
Until we deliver our final BOM, BOM, which stands for Build of Materials, which is literally like, how many components?
What is a bill of materials, I hear you ask? Well, it's essentially a list of components that goes into a thing. This isn't really the be-all and end-all of the system. I mean, every single console goes through this process, trying to find out how to get things cheaper, even by a penny or so. The problem is, we are only 8 months away from customers getting this thing. So much manufacturing, shipping, and testing, among many other things, needs to get done quickly to meet that date. And yet, the CEO still seems to be popping up on podcasts and fighting back against quote-unquote haters every single day. Surely the time to show them what you've got is now.
I believe in that interview with Electric Playground, Tommy basically says that they pulled that $200 cost out their ass because you can't price a machine until you have the bill of materials, right? The bill.
Yeah.
Like, because you don't know what it's going to cost for the parts. So how do you can't just be like, oh, it's going to be $100. I'm like, well, now try to find us parts that are going to, bring us in under the $100. No, you get the build first, and then you're like, okay, well, how much did we spend? How much can we charge? Tommy did everything ass backwards.
And one of the haters that brought this up was Kevtris. Now, Kevtris at the time was an unknown individual on the Atari Age forums that was trying to give Tommy advice directly, saying,
Kevtris wasn't an unknown person on the Atari Age forums. He was unknown to Tommy, but everyone else knew. I think other people knew who Kevtris was at the time. Because he worked with Analog and everything. I think it was just Tommy and maybe like some of the newer people. I didn't know who he was because I don't follow the retro scene, but the people on Atari Age definitely knew who Kevtris was.
Oh, I'm sure.
Saying that he should have replied to every single little negative thing and instead just get the job done. As just one example from around about this date shows them when CPU Wiz gave him his 2 cents.
Your console is going to suck adult balls.
Now, of course, come on. Any normal CEO of a multi-million-dollar console soon to be released wouldn't rise to such an obvious playground-filled foolery, right? Well, this is no normal CEO.
Considering most adults like getting their balls sucked, I'm taking this as a compliment.
This is just not the way the CEO of Intellivision should be acting. And all Kevtris was trying to do was just give him a little bit of friendly advice after he saw him go on yet another very long, over 1 hour long interview with a YouTuber that got less than 50 views because they said they didn't like the Amico.
Kevtris got so far under Tommy's skin that on the bottom of Atari Age, right, it would say who's viewing the thread.
Right.
So Kevtris would go in there and he'd view the thread, right? The Tommy thread. And then Tommy would see Kevtris's name at the bottom and be like, oh, I see that you're lurking in the thread again, Kevtris.
Oh my God. That's pathetic.
Yeah, it would do that shit.
Jesus Christ.
And then, so there was a classic gaming Discord, right? And in the classic gaming Discord, they would have like for Mr. FPGA, all the different shit. I don't know all of them, but all the different.
Yeah, sure.
And then eventually they opened one for Amico. Right? Kevtris didn't start it. I didn't start it. Ninja Kitty didn't start it. Beefy didn't start it. None of us started it, right? It was the person who runs the Discord said, hey, there's too much Amico chatter in these other channels. We're just going to open up an Amico channel. And somehow we all got blamed as like running this hater Discord. It wasn't a hater Discord. It wasn't even a hater channel. It was just a channel that they opened up to keep the Amico talk out of the other channels.
Yeah.
I doubt that the CEO of McDonald's searches YouTube every 10 minutes for videos bashing Mickey D's.
Genovi. 100%.
And he's not wrong. He goes on to explain that he has been behind 3 different console launches himself. He spends 6 to 8 hours a day coding and more at the weekends, and most definitely does not troll you.
Kevtris was the hardware designer for the Chameleon. Mike stupidly let Kevtris go. I don't think that's exactly entirely true. I think, and Kevtris can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Mike tried to get Kevtris to work with him, and Kevtris tried giving Mike some advice and stuff, but I don't think he actually was the hardware designer for the Coleco Chameleon.
Multiple times a day, looking for glitches in the matrix, as he puts it. Of course, Tommy didn't want to hear any of it, as his project is obviously different than whatever crap Kevtris was dishing out. I'm paraphrasing here, by the way. He never actually called it crap. In fact, although he goes on to disagree constantly with every single point that Kevtris brings to the table, he does try his best to stay respectable.
Now I'm curious, which products have you created? Would love to purchase a few in support of what you're doing, if I don't own them already.
Turns out that Kevtris is behind a little-known company known as Analog. I've even got a couple of the systems myself, so therefore Kevtris was perfectly qualified to give Tommy Tallarico advice. But still, Tommy didn't want to hear it, but he did stay respectful.
It's amazing that you were pretty much a one-man show, but I hope you can appreciate and understand the vast differences of what we are doing. And although there may be some similarities, it's a very different project in many ways.
Tommy confirms that every game...
And again, Slopes, I think, missed the better part of the conversation. So Tommy goes, you're a nobody. I don't know who you are. Why are you giving me advice, right? So then Kevtris is like, well, I'm Kevtris, right? I'm the analog guy. Tommy turned around and you know what he said? Hammock Man? He goes, oh, I got some of those analog pocket stuff. Didn't we meet at a convention? I remember meeting you at a convention. And Kevtris is like, I don't go to conventions. So like he flipped, like it's on the same page. He flipped from like you're a nobody to like fucking trying to suck him off, like, and that's just Tommy. That's just Tommy.
Yeah. Oh, I can use this person maybe.
Yeah. Genovi reviews 32X. It got me hooked on the Zilog and Moto channels. It's good. It's good. F1JV says CPU Wiz was, hopefully still is, an a-hole moderator, but is an equal opportunity a-hole moderator in Tellurico, Tacoville. Yeah. All those moderators. These motherfuckers. So they banned me from the thread, right? I wasn't banned from the entire forum at this point. I was just banned from the main Tommy thread, right? So there was a thread for the VCS, right? Mm-hmm. So I popped in there, right? I'm commenting on the VCS thread. I think it was CPU Wiz came into the thread and was like, I'm just reminding you to follow the rules and everything. I'm like, did you follow everybody around the forums to remind them of the rules, right? And then they banned me from that thread for saying that.
Oh my God.
Also,
fuck those guys.
I just noticed something. Did you notice what I just noticed?
No.
Apparently, Slopes has pulled a Tommy.
Oh, and elaborate.
It's going to have Froze feedback. Not force feedback, but Froze feedback.
Oh.
Slopes. You got a mistake.
I see it. Oh, Froze feedback up there on the right. Yeah.
Pasta is a great meal. I love pasta.
Will come in 7 languages, a downgraded R-Type game, and Worms are both coming to the Amico, apparently. Believe it or not, this one turned out to be a lie, as the original creator of Worms stated himself.
I created Worms, so no, you didn't, Tommy.
According to Tommy himself, the company is now in the completion phase, just waiting on the bits from China with only 2 months left to go for testing. He then confirmed.
But I don't know if you caught that. The guy who, the Worms guy.
Yeah, who is that?
Okay, so this was from Reset Era. So when Tommy said that they're going to have worms, that was in 2020. Okay, February. The worms guy didn't respond until April 22nd, 2022, 2 years later. That's how Tommy gets away with stuff, right? He says stuff and no one hears about it. And it just kind of goes under the radar. And then years later, someone, oh, I didn't say that, or why, that's not true. And then by that time, it's too late, right? He's already convinced people that Worms is coming.
Right.
The company is now in the completion phase, just waiting on the bits from China with only 2 months left to go for testing. He then confirms yet another game, Space Spartans, and just when you think he says yes to everything, unfortunately EA have the rights to everything Baby Yoda, and therefore no Amico Mando game is available right now. He does, however, have the right to Cosmic Art. He teases a Harmonix game. Okay, this one's confusing. Someone asked if the Amico will have superhero games like Spider-Man and Batman, and he responds,
yes, but not on launch.
Okay, so I guess we are now getting Spider-Man and Batman games now too. And if that's still not enough, Intellivision put out a sizzle reel of games and also go on record to say that the VIP pre-orders will be going live on March 31st. Yes, more pre-orders. And taking a quick look at the gameplay found in this trailer, we have that Echo-inspired game Dolphin Quest, which, by the way, is a failed Kickstarter known as Big Blue, or more than likely the prequel Little Blue, which, according to the Echo the Dolphin wiki, was to be a free game. Regardless, that was, a long time ago, and this new version looks like it's now coming to the Switch anyway. The auto race game, you will notice, has a wobbly camera because it's an unfinished VR game, and this part of the trailer is ripped directly.
And you can see right here is how we figured it out, because in the trailer, Chicken Waffle has their logo on some of the billboards. In the trailer that Tommy used, they have the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how I was able to figure out, oh, wait a minute, this is not an Amico game.
From the company that made it, meaning that it's 100% not being played on an Amico, nor is Evil Knievel. Yes, supposedly this was one of the games that was played by the likes of John Riggs and Metal Jesus, but what is seen here, in this trailer again, is 100% not running on an Amico system. Want proof? Here we have the trailer for said game released 5 years earlier for mobile phones. The overhyped DICE demo is of...
And of course, we also have that image from the Evil Knievel press kit that has Vimeo.
Real quick, this is a little off topic, but I was just thinking while I was watching this, because I remember, I think it was Ninja Kitty that was going through reading those comments. Well, I know it was him, but I think it was in one of his videos where he was talking about there were performers that used to perform at video games live, and they would almost, like college students, like they would almost be tricked into performing, and they would do it for free. You remember those comments? Like, so that's like his business model, like to try to get free performers. And then it's like his business model for this Amico was the same thing, like trying to get these fucking free games and to sell it. I mean, not every game, obviously, but some of this stuff, that was like he said, the Little Blue or whatever was like a free to play game, like just trying to make money off of things that were already free.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, it's so funny because what isn't mentioned here, right? So when we figured out that Evil Knievel was a mobile game, right? Remember, he said there's going to be no mobile games. He made a big fuss. We said, hey, so this is one of those like in the weeds things, right? Okay, so bear with me. So Tommy goes on, he shows the sizzle reel, and everyone's all hyped, and all these old fogies are like, "Oh my God, Evil Knievel!" Right? And I remember Evil Knievel. So Tommy's like, "Yeah, we got this brand new Evil Knievel game just for you guys because I know I love the Evil Knievel." And he's going on and on, how Evil Knievel is awesome. And then it was discovered, wait a minute, this Evil Knievel game is a mobile game, right? You didn't make the new Evil Knievel game for you've been hyping this up. But it's not a new game. It's an old mobile game. So Atari Creep had said that if there was mobile games, he was gonna give it to Tommy. I'm gonna give Tommy a piece of my mind if I find out there's mobile games. Well, when we find out that there's mobile games on there, right? What do you think happens? Does Atari Creep give Tommy a piece of his mind?
Of course not.
Of course not. Because what does Tommy say? Tommy says he calls him up on the phone. He said, "Tommy, call me up on the phone." He says, "Creep. You got to realize I'm good friends with the guy who did the Evil Knievel game, right? That's my Atari Creep voice. I'm
That's
good friends.
Pretty good.
With the Evil Knievel guy, and he really wanted to make a really good game, but he didn't have the money because they didn't sell a lot of mobile versions of the game. So what I did was I gave him a bunch of money, threw a bunch of money at him, and he's gonna make the definitive version that he wanted to make all the time because he's a good friend of mine, and I want him to live his vision, and that's why I put it on there. And I apologize to you that I didn't let you guys know ahead of time this was a mobile game, but it was a favor for a friend, and of course they bought it. But unfortunately, some pesky journalists happened to contact the guys behind it. Turns out they really were not close friends with Tommy, and this story was just fabricated.
That's the thing, and that's how it all was presented. Like it's like everything that you said was like lies and stuff, and even though you're given the truth, but Tommy was the liar all along.
Yeah, even though I was talking to the people, they're like, "Yes, this is the thing," and they're like, "I was like, no, Tony's definitely lying. Tony's the liar."
God.
So there was a we're going to jump ahead a little bit because I want to show this screenshot. So we're going to stop this. This I don't think made it into the documentary.
Okay.
But I think it's important to show. Okay, so this is spoiler alert. This is the press kit for the August 2020 event, right? And as you can see, this is the Evil Knievel section, right? There's Evil Knievel. Come on, load up. Lots of pictures. There's the Finnegan Fox and other things, right? So this image stuck out to me because I don't know if you guys could see it, so I'm going to zoom in. Okay. Can you see it?
No, I'm not. I don't see shit like you do.
You don't see that? The thing that's on the screen right now?
Oh, the Vimeo.com is now full screen?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was something on your end.
No, that's on their end. What is Vimeo, guys?
Is it like,
anybody know?
Is it like a YouTube kind of place?
It is like a YouTube kind of place. Yeah. And you know what happens to be on Vimeo? The trailer for Evil Knievel.
But
why does that matter? Well, Vimeo's in full screen. They took screenshots from the trailer for Evil Knievel and put it in their press kit.
Off of Vimeo. Oh my God.
And they fucked up and they left that one in there. They screenshotted it when it said was let them know that Vimeo was full screen.
How fucking amateur.
So these screenshots weren't even from Amico. Right? These weren't even being played on Amico. These were literally screenshots.
How could you fucking put that in there and not even notice that? Like, you just don't even fucking care.
Amateur hour. Of course, I pointed it out at the time because.
Of course. But you're a liar hater.
Yeah, I'm a hater. This right here, look, it's got the FPSs on there and the Amico API 3.1.
Yeah, that's pathetic.
Of course, still being played on a mobile phone, not the Amico controllers. And finally, the emoji demo is again ripped straight from a trailer.
No call, no show. What do you say? He's the George Santos of the video game world. What? No. What am I looking at? Vimeo is YouTube. Yeah. It was definitely. It wasn't even a boomer moment. They paid.
It's just idiot moment.
Yeah, it was just dumb. It was like they weren't paying attention. The PR people that were doing it weren't paying attention. And it was four mobile games that were in that sizzle trailer, sizzle reel.
released years earlier, this one is extra dodgy, as the trailer shows official Apple licensed emojis not used on any other platform. Now, I don't know about you, but I highly doubt that Tommy Tallarico has paid Apple a licensing fee for those Apple emojis, right? Oh, okay, I take it back. Apparently, he did.
Yes, emojis are absolutely copyrighted, unless of
copywritten.
Of course, you make your own or pay a license, like we did.
What do you reckon? Did Apple authorize the use of their exclusive emojis for this upcoming system, the Amico? Believe what you want to believe. This trailer brings us loads more games that we need to add.
No, see, Slopes is wrong here. Read what it says. Unless, of course, you make your own or pay a license, like we did. Like we did was make your own. They just happened to make emojis that were identical to the Apple ones. That's what happened.
To the list. You got Safecracker, Pool, Cornhole, Colossal Crash, Dino Blaster, Backtalk Party, Evil Knievel, Fargle, Emoji Charades, and Cloudy Mountain. The very next day, Tommy confirms a bingo game is on the way. Catan is also confirmed a few days later. And
how that? What? Why would you need a bingo game? What could you do with a bingo game?
I don't know. That's so boring.
Just look
He's
at
just trying to think about capturing that grandma market.
I wonder why Tommy never promised an Elf game. Doesn't even know how popular Elf is among today's youth. Yeah, well, because Elf came back in Pog form. So Tommy couldn't afford it. Vimeo confirmed as an Amico packet. Yeah. I think they actually did mention Elf on the Atari Age at one point.
Then he gets his first big positive break within the world of YouTube influencers with Rich from Review Tech USA.
But yeah, in regards to Intellivision, so okay, coronavirus, blah, 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 you got to bring it up, right? We're still on track for 10/10/2020 launch. How it affects us right now immediately is that we're not going to be able to put out as many, to manufacture as many of the products.
They were still on track, guys, for 10/10/20 launch. What happened? How did they get off the track? When did the cars derail, Tommy?
As we want, because at the beginning I'm like, look, I want to make this whole thing in the USA, freaking USA, go America, and all this stuff. And that was kind of again, not knowing all of the intricacies of everything. But the reality is, Rich, is that
that's how out of touch Tommy is, right? With having zero experience building a console, I at least have enough knowledge to know that none of this shit gets made in the US. Like everything is manufactured in China.
Right.
That was like one of the ex-president's selling points. Remember, China. We're gonna bring all the jobs back. China. It's got too many balloons. We're gonna bring all the jobs back. So how could you not? Like, it's like you just not paid attention to anything that's been going on in the last 30 years, right?
80% of the stuff that makes electronics, and again, let's specifically talk about Intellivision, can only be made
in China
and bought in China. And
that's also not true. The only can be made in China? No, they can be made in the US. It's just very expensive.
Yeah, it's cheaper in China.
That's the issue. You couldn't, if you wanted to pay triple for it, you couldn't because it doesn't exist. This stuff just isn't even produced and manufactured anywhere else except China.
Pat and Ian are not best pleased.
Tommy had a 1 hour and 1 minute long, I can't call it an interview because it's not. It's an infomercial for the Amico with our friend Rich from Review Tech USA. Good job, Rich, saying absolutely nothing of worth or asking any hard questions during the interview. You nailed it, buddy. Hit it right out of the goddamn park. Hard-hitting journalism. Tough stuff, man.
This has nothing to do with Pat and Ian or Slopes. I think this has more to do with YouTube. But how is it that he has to censor fucking, but saying goddamn was okay? I didn't feel the need to censor that part. Just I find it ironic. Funny that way. Funny.
Yeah.
You look good in that Intellivision Amico Up sweatshirt, you goddamn tool. You can become sellout, you can get up hack.
Which, of course, gained itself a retaliation from the Amico supporters, too.
You see, this right here is exactly why Pat and Ian are not taken seriously in the retro video game scene today. They just try way too freaking hard to get people to pay attention to them.
For me, looking back, it's this exact point in the timeline that's quite eye-opening. Sure, we've had skeptics and we've had blind supporters, but the more Tommy and his crew went out of their way to fight back against the criticism, the more the big boys got involved. And for me, it was right here where we really did start to see a major shift from the supporters to the cultists and the skeptics to the haters. Of course, labeling either side as such is lazy, and for the most part, besides the odd few examples, of course, it's just simply incorrect. But this is how each side saw each other. Even if you were an innocent passerby looking in, if you had the slightest bit of criticism or praise towards the Amico, then it's likely that you would be labeled as, well, a hater or a cultist. And it was only going to be getting more decisive from here on out.
And in this video, I want to give them a little bit of help.
Whose guitar is it?
Let me zoom in.
I could have swore I seen Tommy have that same guitar, like a full-size one.
Maybe.
It's like red with white lines. Unless he takes the little guitar, puts it really close to the camera, and pretends like he's holding it. Like with forced
just
perspective.
so small. Yeah.
Look at that. What is that, an arcade for ants?
Yeah, it's little bitty hands.
On how to get better so that they don't come off as such jackasses going forward.
Ooh, how'd that work out, Smash?
Oh, Smash.
Smash? I just find it funny that Smash was going to teach other people how not to come off as a jackass.
Oh, God.
The Eddie Van Halen guitar, that's what it is, yeah. I think he has a full-size one. It's actually a ukulele. Yes, I am. Sweet and tender. Still unvaccinated, still immune to the coronavirus. 100%. I have so much monster running through my veins that corona cannot take hold.
Anyway, the next day we get confirmation that the Amico is getting a cooking game. Hasbro have been kind to Tommy and Co 2 as an Amico.
I think he missed some other things there. He has some edutainment. He forgot the edutainment kid stuff on launch, more casual game stuff next year.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally put the screenshot in.
Version of Clue and Life are both coming to the Amico too. And then a couple of days later, over on Twitter, we finally get to see what those 5 packing games are going to be. You got Skiing, Shark, Astro Smash, Cornhole, Farkle, and the very next day, they announced that the system was going to be getting a 6 packing game too. But they didn't want to announce that one just yet. Yep, 6 packing games, not 5.
And this also is the point in the story. Hi, I'm Tony. Probably wondering how I got here. What happened was Tommy Tallarico said, there's going to be 5 packing games. You know, we're going to bring back the old Intellivision games. And someone on Atari Age said, you know what? When I was a young man, me and my brother, we used to really love playing Snafu on the Intellivision. My brother is passed, and this is the kind of game that I want to play with my family and would bring families together, because Snafu is a really fun game. I'm paraphrasing here, obviously. And Tommy said, you know what? Because you told that story and because it means so much to you, I'm making Snafu one of the free packing games. Atari Age exclusive announcement, Snafu packing game. So I reported it. I reported that Snafu was a packing game, right? Tommy said it. Must be true. Tommy then turned around and said, hey, why are you lying? I never said that Snafu was a packing game. I said, Tommy, you 100% said Snafu was a packing game. And then I produced screenshots of Tommy saying Snafu was a packing game. So you know what Tommy then said, Hammock Man?
What did he say, Tony?
Tommy said, everything I say on the forum is just me having fun. Unless I officially announce it on our social media, then nothing here should be taken as me being the CEO. And this is just me talking to some friends having fun. And I'm paraphrasing again. So Tommy basically said that anything he said on Atari Age didn't matter. He could just bullshit and make up anything he wanted, and you couldn't hold him to it.
Yeah, so just straight up lying to your friends is having fun.
Yeah. Also, he did change the name of Snafu because snafu, situation normal, all fucked up. That's not family friendly. But snafu, situation normal, all fudge or I don't know. He never actually explained what the new snafu meant.
I didn't realize that's what snafu stood for. Situation now all fucked up.
No, situation normal, all fucked up.
Oh, situation normal. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? It's like an old ass acronym.
I know. I've always heard the word snafu, but I never knew that it was an acronym. I guess I just was a word that was like, yeah, it's a snafu. I didn't know it was had another meaning.
Yeah, it's a military acronym.
Got it.
Yeah. That's when Tommy crosses over from pathological liar to full-fledged psychopath or sociopath.
Sociopath. Yeah, exactly.
We had a few snafus over the weekend here in Michigan for sure. Yeah. You didn't know that? I'm surprised a lot of people didn't know that. The first time I heard that was in Tango and Cash. I don't know if you remember that movie.
No, I've not seen that movie, so that's probably why I did not know it.
Yeah. They mentioned it. Yeah, situation normal, all fucked up.
And here is yet another sizzle reel of those games, including that stupidly bog-standard dice game, Fargle, still being played on a phone, not a controller, as well as skiing, Shark, Astro Smash, and of course, Cornhole. No, wait. Oh, Cornhole. Okay. Mistakes get made. The best thing to do is just own up to it and give a massive thumbs up to the first person that noticed it, right?
We fixed that about a month ago. I thought it was kind of funny, so I left it in the trailer to see if anyone would notice.
This coming from the same guy who criticized Atari.
Did you notice the other mistake in the trailer?
I thought it was kind of funny, so
this word right here. Placeholder.
Oh.
They literally said placeholder because they didn't have all the assets in place. They put out a trailer with conhole and placeholder on it. And some of the boards that they show off in the trailer has art stolen from the internet.
Yeah, I remember that.
I left it in the trailer to see if anyone would notice.
This coming from the same guy who criticized Atari for misspelling asteroids and Yar's Revenge, by the way.
Now that is something that should raise a few red flags for folks.
A video pops up showing Sideswipers and explains how the Amico is unique in the sense that when you're out of the game, you can try and set traps for those still playing. Just like thousands of other games, for instance, Bomberman. Eventually, this was implied to be a Hot Wheel license game, by the way, for those interested. The next day, those limited edition pre-orders go up for sale, starting at $250 with a refundable $100 deposit. Special editions of the console go as high as $300 within 30 minutes. Tommy claims that 1,000 have been sold. And weirdly, that almost half the pre-orders are coming from people that...
So, when they sold the VIP, or not the VIP, the Founders Edition, right? If you remember, 1,000 were sold in 5 minutes.
Right.
The VIP, 1,000 were sold in 30 minutes. It took 6 times as long to sell 1,000. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No, it's not.
The same with Fubar, yeah. Fucked up beyond all recognition.
I did know that. That was from, what was that? Saving Private Ryan.
Logical says totally and royally fucked up is better Tarfu. Yeah, see, No Call saw Tango and Cash too. How did you not see that movie?
I don't know. It just never did.
It's classic.
I know. I should probably see it. There's a few that I've missed that are classics.
I was like way too young to be watching that movie now.
Yeah, my parents wouldn't let me watch rated R movies when I was little, so I would go over to my friend's house, and that's where I got to see everything, like all the Rambos and Chuck Norris movies and Terminator and stuff like that.
This had Stallone and Kurt Russell in it.
Yeah, I know. I need to go back and watch that for sure.
My parents just let us watch whatever. The best, I don't know, probably because your family is a lot stricter, but in my family, they would always be like, whenever there's an adult scene, cover your eyes. Cover your eyes. Right?
Yeah.
And then you'd always like try to open your fingers up a little.
Peek a little bit. Quit looking.
I used to, like when we watch movies by my uncle's house, he had mirrors behind the couch, right? they'd always be like, "Well, turn around."
Oh yeah, and then you can watch.
But they would forget that the mirror was there. So you try to like look in the mirror. Oh, that's
sneaky, sneaky.
Back in the 80s, kids under 10 watch RoboCop. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Where the guy's head like explodes all over the car.
They had a freaking RoboCop cartoon.
Yeah, they did. That was a weird thing. Like
they had a lot of fun. Anything. Yeah, anything they could get. There's a lot of rated R cartoons.
Fucking Little Shop of Horrors had a cartoon at one point.
Yeah, Rambo. There was a Rambo cartoon.
Order more than one Amico. People aren't just ordering one, they're ordering 2 or more. How strange is that? Well, to be fair, it's not as strange as the CEO of a console selling gangbusters for its size to then go on a forum and ask its members to actively promote the system on their own social media platforms, giving them all of the marketing and exact buzzwords to use in order to put in more pre-orders.
Hashtag defeat the haters.
We are close to 500 pages into that Atari Age forum, and this sort of stuff is just going down constantly. A quick thank you to everybody that praises the system, and then a real long, lengthy response to anybody that has even the slightest bit of criticism, going into great detail as to why they are wrong. Also,
another thing that Slopes missed in this documentary, the reason Tommy was so adamant about clamping down and getting rid of the haters from the thread, he would point to the thread in his investor pitches and stuff. We have the biggest thread on Atari Age, and Atari Age is this huge retro gaming forum, and look how everybody loves me there. So he would point people to it. So he couldn't have haters in there, because when people went to it, they would see what was going on, and they'd be like, oh, wait a minute, we can't invest in this because these people are pointing out all the flaws. But if he ran you off, you wouldn't be there, would you?
So he would point investors to the Atari thread where he was bullshitting and you weren't supposed to take him seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure.
But they probably wouldn't know that, right? Unless you've seen that one post
exactly.
Made. Also, he would point people to the YouTube, right? And go, look, no dislikes, or our dislike ratio, or like to dislikes are so good. And look at no negative comments. Slopes forgot that. There's no negative comments. Nobody's saying a bad thing in our comments.
Yeah.
Only videos on YouTube with positive comments because everybody loves the Amico. Say, Tommy, you're obviously, weeding out the negative comments.
It must have drove him nuts to know that you could search Amico and see some of our videos pop up shitting on it.
Yeah, that's why he would tell Pete and them to ban us all, like make sure you ban these people from your channel, so we couldn't leave negative comments on the videos.
Jeez.
Because he was selling this idea that everybody loved it to investors. Look at all the videos, look at the comments. There's no negative comments. Everybody loves it. And that's why he hated hater videos, because we would allow people to comment. And if they got big enough views, right? Like if Pat and Ian's video got a lot of views and someone looks up on YouTube, oh, what's going on with the Amico?
Yeah.
And you would see all the negative comments on Pat's videos. Like, wait a minute. This isn't what Tommy told us at the investor pitch, right? Like,
that's
so that's
awesome.
that's why he was trying to clamp down, because this was part of his sales pitch, part of his marketing. Slopes is a shill. No, he's not. Not anymore.
If it's not responding to the praise and negativity on these forums, he's chasing YouTube channels and trying to get an interview of any single person he can that talks negatively about this system, especially the CU podcast, who he now calls the PU podcast. We already talked about that hardcore divide over on YouTube, and obviously the same thing was happening over on Atari Age. It didn't matter what tiny bit of criticism or praise you had, you were getting dragged either way. And whether he meant for this to happen or not, old Tommy was the one conducting the loudest orchestra that the mini console wars had ever seen. As we make our way into April, Intellivision, of course, gets itself more workers. We get another game tease. This time it's an NWA RPG. Yep.
I wouldn't mind an NWA RPG, to be honest.
No, that sounds kind of interesting.
Beat, who interviewed Tommy, confirmed that more than 10,000 pre-orders have now been placed. Yahtzee's coming to the Amico. A Funko Pop Running Man is coming. Why not? And just in case you want further proof that Tommy can't even take the smallest bit of criticism, here he is. This is so stupid. Here he is being interviewed by Tony TGD.
That's me. I made it in the video again.
For those that don't remember, Tony TGD, aka the Geek Getaway, is, besides Pat and Ian, Tommy's biggest critic.
Man, look at those names in the chat. We got Retro Advisory Board, Michael Garvey, Sneaky V, Sensible Person,
yeah.
Dorkalicious. Some of the classics.
The difference is, and no offense to Tony, he's not exactly a big channel.
And we made it clear that I only had 13 subscribers when Tommy agreed, and about 50 subs when the interview actually happened.
Tommy knew going in that he would be getting roasted by this guy, and he did it anyway. He simply just could not let a small channel talk badly about his upcoming system.
I think we should just go ahead and, before we start, I want to say that Tommy did not pay me anything. I've been checking my mailbox. There's no Amico. There's no.
No, I didn't pay you.
So, I mean, since I was going to keep it PG because the Amico got Z10, but I guess since Tommy just gone ahead and dropped the F-bomb, we're going to go ahead and do it that way.
Now I get by going into this, he wanted to set the record straight on several things that he believes Tony is incorrect or ill-informed about, but obviously all he did was raise awareness on his biggest critic.
And that's the thing. Why are people jumping on me and attacking me when they haven't had a chance to see and play the system?
I don't think people are doing that. I think people are hearing what you're saying.
People are jumping on me? Really? How many times do I keep telling people, look, criticisms are completely fair, right? Because you don't have all the information. All I keep telling people, people heard me say this a million times, look, don't make a decision until you play it. That's all. Isn't that fair, Tony? Would that be fair? Make your decision once you have a chance to play it. Is that a fair thing to ask?
No.
Mine, no, just no. I wish he would have included the clip of Tommy saying, "Can we be friends? Can we be friends, Tony?" No.
The interview essentially turns into an argument at times, with both parties trying to one-up each other. It's quite tough to listen to, in all honesty, but still, it's a breath of fresh air from the literally hundreds of interviews he's conducted where he shouted out the same bog-standard crap every single time.
Hey, mate, I'm going to take a piss out of you right now.
We'll get to that. Honestly, there really isn't much new here. It's quite eye-opening to listen to this play out. Tony TGD is Tommy's and the Amico's harshest critic, but he's also a walking encyclopedia when it comes to knowing what this system is about. In fact, he was one of the few people I spoke to who confirmed a lot of what I researched for this video.
Look at that. Look at that little logo. I'm going to steal this.
And gave plenty more that I had no idea about. Obviously, fact-checked by me.
And as Slope said yesterday, there was plenty of things that I was pushing to try to get him to include that he was like, no, either it didn't fit in with the job with the vibe of the video, or there wasn't exactly, a smoking gun or 100% proof.
Right.
You can check the full thing yourself down below, along with a link to Tony TGD's channel and Ninja Kitty 2, among many other links. Depending if you really want to go deeper still into this endless Amico pit of obscurities and the endless amounts of pleasing everybody, like, for instance, did you know?
A lot of our...
Did you know Intellivision Amico? That's never going to happen. Mm-hmm. Poor Tommy. Well played, Frog. Yeah, thank you. Hold up. Man, your first video, it was... the audio that Slopes used, he cleaned it up. Thank God. The audio is so terrible. It's rough. I'm embarrassed. I was. Again, watch the interview. There was some moments where I was unprepared with my stats and my figures. There was a couple of moments where I'm going in and letting Tommy, do Tommy. There's things that you didn't know at the time, right? I was like, well, Tommy says they're going to hire indie devs out of South America. I guess that's a thing, right? Like, okay. We about to be famous? Yeah. Logical says, who's to say the next system that can buy slopes with clout? Not going to lie, I can't believe them anymore. In this world, you have two things, your word and your balls. NWA RPG was a new one to me. When was that announced? It was not announced. It was just mentioned on the forums, and Tommy's like, yeah, we could do that. All right. Tony, Slopes, and Gen X are shills, but it's okay. Thank you. I only shill for the Geek Getaway and for the brand. Small balls. Tony got them big ones. And Slopes is showing you have bigger balls than him, not gonna lie. No. I just didn't care. I was. It was rough at the beginning. I didn't want to do it. I honestly didn't want to do YouTube. I know people are going to find this weird, and if you just came in, or if you're newer to the channel, right? You're like, man, Tony does these 4-hour live streams, 6 hours, 10-hour live streams, 8 hours, just sitting there talking and going on these tangents, and it's all fantastic. When I first started, I didn't want to be on the microphone at all. I did not want to talk. I did not want to have conversations. I didn't want to interview people. I preferred written. I said, Tommy, let's do a written interview, right? That way everyone can get their thoughts out. You can think about your answers. I can think about my questions. And it'll be down in writing, right? There's no misunderstanding in a written interview. But Tommy didn't want to do that. He wanted to do a YouTube video. And that's why I didn't have any subs, because I didn't really use YouTube like that. That's not what I use YouTube for. So it's not a victory lap. It's not the victory lap yet, sweet. This is the warm-up. This is the test run. If you would have opened up Amico and showed us what was inside, I would have walked away.
George Costanza.
Tony, you ever think about re-uploading an interview, but with cartoons talking back and forth instead of a voice?
Yeah.
I could do something. Probably work something out. That would be interesting. And also maybe like clean up the audio. If I was going to do that, I would clean up the audio and then add the cartoons and stuff. That's actually a good idea, George. I'll, it's going to be the summer of Costanza. Summer of George. I'll put you down as a producer on that. Now we got a DMAS Tony. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen.
10,000 subs.
10,000. You're going to get you'll probably get a body reveal. Not naked, but like clothed body reveal. This June. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to too many games. And I'm probably going to walk around. You'll see me, going to the booths and shit. And if Mint Salad is supposed to go, and they already were like, hey, if we see you there, we're going to drag you and make you do a video, make you do a review with us. So I got that to look forward to.
You going to cosplay as a frog?
I am. I'm going to buy a frog mask to keep my identity hidden. I'll be like Mad Max, but with a frog. I think it'll work.
Games before some folks have our actual controller. We're actually playing them with Xboxes on their emulators. You can play Xbox on Xbox controllers with our Steam game. You can do that too.
So the Amico has the ability to use Xbox controllers. Okay, and Space Armada, yep, that just got added to the Amico. Sure, why not? Also, whilst you've got that open, you can add Battleship, Pinball, and Curling, and a Whack-A-Mole game, and Spiker, and an Amico exclusive version, obviously, of a German-created game called Sturmwind. Time for something positive. On the 12th of April 2020, Intellivision show off the never-released Easter Bunny game for the OG Intellivision. Obviously, never released, as I doubt it would sell well. Still, I adore it.
It was a prototype. It wasn't never released for because it was finished. It was just never released because it was never done, right?
Right.
Little unreleased video game facts like this. He then jumps onto yet another podcast, and in this one, the host, Mikael Casanova, brings up the growing feud between the CU podcast and Intellivision, and the results are not good.
I think you should just come out and say it, because when you told me this right before we went on air, I was literally shocked, and I think people need to know about this and how kind of disgusting it is.
I actually had people from a certain podcast, the certain CU podcast. I had
that's the PU podcast.
I had Ian actually reached out to me yesterday after I put out the announcement that I was going to have Tommy on my show, and it was actually pretty crazy because I'm like, wow, you've never acknowledged my existence. I didn't know you even know who I was. It's just
okay. So there has been some contention around what Mikael says here. So I'm gonna peel back the curtain just a little bit. I was friendly at the time of this interview. Me and Mikael were friendly. We're on speaking terms because we had both run afoul of another game journalist, or whatever you want to call it. right? And we both had an experience with this person, and so we kind of like, oh, yeah, this guy did this to me, and he's like, yeah, this guy did this, right? So we kind of like had a little friendly back and forth over that, and eventually he interviews Tommy, right? And so I haven't been able to find. I gotta try to look through my archive, because when you download the archive for your Twitter DMs, it doesn't have the person's names. It just has like a date. So then you have to go through each one to find the one you're looking for.
Right.
So I had to find it, but I remember 100%. I remember after this happened, I had asked him about it, and I'm 100% positive that he did tell me that yes, that did happen. That Ian did reach out to him. He didn't show me the Twitter DMs. He didn't say exactly like, oh, Ian said this, or he didn't say, hey, I checked to make sure that was Ian from the PU podcast, PUCU podcast. Now I'm doing it. I'm doing it, Tommy, right? But I do remember him saying that yes, Ian had, at least in his belief, that Ian had reached out to him to warn him about not doing the interview.
That's smart, though. I mean, because it's like everyone that's doing the interview just are shills now, like just trying to warn him, like, hey, this isn't going to be good for you. He was trying to be a friend.
Yeah. Ian just gave him a thumbs up. Yeah. So, yeah, take that for what you will. But like I said, we were on good speaking terms, and I don't think he was going to lie to me because the next thing that happens in the podcast is another thing that we're going to discuss.
Calling me a shill and a sellout and all this. And I'm like, okay, well, first off, I don't even know who you are. Well, yeah, I know who you are, but who are you? It's like, it was just weird, and it's,
Well, it's sick. It's sick, is what it is, and I mean, how pathetic that this Ian character reaches out, who's clearly unhinged at this point. I mean, how many other YouTubers have to, smack him down before he's like, he has zero self-awareness of how he comes off, to other people. But to reach out to somebody he doesn't even know and PM you, private message you on Twitter to call you out because you're a podcast and you want to interview me. This is how insane these two have become. Like, zero self-awareness.
Damn, that is not good. Granted, and spoiler alert, the CU podcast was right about this system, but to call someone out as a shield before an interview had even taken place, not good. I reached out to Mikhail myself as I wanted to get proof of this, to which he replied,
a lot of folks didn't like me having Tommy on my show that one-off time, and I know when I announced he was coming on is when the show started. As far as Ian goes, honestly, I don't remember it or the interaction with him, mainly because of how long it's been. Well, I'm looking now and I can't find the DMs with Ian. I don't know if I deleted it or not. Unfortunately, I think I may have deleted it as I don't have anything for the conversation saved. My apologies, man.
Okay, he doesn't have proof. Those DMs, for whatever reason, no longer exist. So take this with a huge grain of salt. However, what I can confirm, because it happened to me too, is that Mikhail was hounded as soon as he mentioned Tommy's name from the detractors. Again, it's just further proof of the divide between these two groups. Again, for a system that isn't even out yet. It's not a great look for either side. And I say either side because it was happening over on the other side too. You try and say something negative about the Amico on the Atari Age forums, and you will soon be bombarded with the pro-Amico crowd jumping right down your throat. And of course, leading the way in both camps, if you ask me, is Superstitious Tommy.
There's a question by Miller B.
That's actually not Miller B. That's actually Tony, TGD. So he's just trying to get his negative question in. But yeah, let's answer it.
If you have it.
Yeah, Miller B. and Tony TGD are different people. We're not the same person. I don't know why. So Miller B. asked a question. I guess it was a question that I had asked previously. When this interview was going on, I was actually at work. Right? I was working when this interview was going on. I found out about this afterward. And me and Mikhail actually laughed about it in DMs about how Tommy was accusing me of being this Miller B person. But that's how unhinged, that's how much I was in his mind that he was actually like, assuming that, I would go in there. Like, why would I even go in there as someone else? Like, it didn't make no sense. Right?
Yeah, it's funny. He just calls Ian unhinged, but he's literally like in his eyes. He's got the craziest look. He is so unhinged.
Oh, Tommy's 100% unhinged.
By the way, this is all new for me. I haven't seen any of this.
You didn't see any of that?
No, I haven't seen any of this part of the video.
Oh.
I stopped at the 2-hour mark.
Oh yeah, that's right. So what are you thinking? What are your thoughts so far on what you've watched?
Still good. I mean, that's just I'm loving how all of this is being documented. I mean, you guys, you helping him, giving him the stuff. I mean, it's good. I'm liking it.
Obviously, I'm trying to stall for time because I'm looking for something.
Oh, are you?
Obviously, and that's why I'm asking you what you think about the thing. But no, I agree. We did, we gave him information, but I don't want to say pro side because he wanted pro side people to help him. Obviously, he didn't want it to be. Yeah, they were not going to. DJ C wasn't going to be like, hey, let me do a voiceover.
Yeah.
Mike Mullis is not like let me tell you how great Tommy is and give you some information.
It's so weird to think that this is still happening. Like they're like even after this video, the H Bomber guy video, you still got them that are just believing this shit. I mean, I know they probably aren't 100% still believing it anymore, but just the fact that you still have any faith in this company is I don't understand.
I mean, you can have faith in the company. You can be like, oh, I think the company might succeed. But having faith in Tommy at the very least.
Do you think that I don't even know if they do still have faith in Tommy at this point. I mean, they probably don't want to shit on him, but I think they even have to realize that this is fucked.
I think they do because, you got I love you, Mullis. I love you, Tommy. I'm pretty sure he does.
You think so?
Oh, I 100% think that he still believes Tommy never lied to him.
Yeah, he's probably about maybe the only one.
I put up a poll asking who they thought the last Shill standing was going to be.
Yeah, I put Mullis. I answered Mullis.
That would be my answer too.
Most people are saying DJC, but Mullis will never turn on Tommy.
Damn it.
DJC's in it for the clicks and the notoriety and hoping that he can build his channel into something. Mullis just straight up loves Tommy.
Oh, he loves him. So what I was looking for was in the interview that I did with Tommy, somebody was actually in the chat, right? And would you believe if I told you it was Miller B was in the chat?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. But I think it's not coming up because I have him banned. Because I think at one point he started trying to dox me.
Really?
Yeah. So let me see if I could hidden users. Man, there's a lot of fucking so many hidden users. Let me see. Tommy Tellerico is banned on the channel, by the way. I don't know if it's the real Tommy or if it's someone that had made a Tommy alt.
Probably an alt.
Blitzkrieg banned from the channel.
Yeah, he's banned on mine too.
You know what I love when I look through these names that are George Plimpton banned. When I look through the names on this, when they change them, and so I'm like, oh, I never banned this guy. Oh, it must have been someone else, and they just changed the name.
Right.
Man, 117 more. Damn, that's a lot of. Let me see. Hold on. It's way too many of you guys making alt accounts.
There's a ton of fucking alt accounts out there, and it's funny. It's like people will say, "I don't have alt accounts," but yet there's all these fucking alt accounts. Somebody's doing it.
There's like 4 Relic gamers that they're like blocked on my channel.
I'd like to hear from Relic Gamer.
I got a Tommy Amico blocked. Why is there a Tommy Amico blocked on the channel?
It was probably an alt.
And an alt of evil. Someone did a. Here it is. Okay. So I'm going to show the backstage, behind the scenes.
Ooh.
The studio. So you can see channel dashboard. I don't know if you can see, but right there is Miller B.
Miller. Yeah.
He's blocked on the channel. Unless I'm some sort of like 4D underwater chess, and I that's my own alt account that I blocked on my channel.
Gregory's getaway.
Yeah, he's blocked. Darth Vader's also blocked. Lot of weird people. A lot of weird people. Scamico blocked. Yeah, so Miller B was not me. It was never me. It was just Tommy, like going on this weird. Let Tommy in. I don't think that was the real Tommy. We had what, like 2 Hanses, a couple Alvarados. It's like, don't muddy the waters. I hated when people did that, right? People were like, why are you mad? It just troll. No, because that gives the other side an excuse. That gives the shills, like, see what they're doing and see how they're trying to ruin Tommy's reputation.
Well, for a lot of people, this was not about the seriousness of it. This was just a game for them, just a pure entertainment, just to watch.
I didn't think it was possible to get blocked in the channel. It is. I said, if you break terms of service, I'll block you. And that's it, really. All those people were either, or if you're a bot, like I blocked a bunch of bots. That's the fake ones. Yeah. See? So, yeah. As long as you come here, I don't care if you attack me, if you attack one of the panel members. As long as you're respectful, don't break any of the terms of service. Don't dox anybody. He's paranoid and got others paranoid. Yeah. Are we sure Tommy didn't have dementia this whole time? Isn't that a sign with him calling everyone haters or after him?
That or fucking drugs.
Well, he claims he didn't do drugs.
All I'm saying, or it's like that manic behavior. It's very manic.
And now we know Carl isn't blocked. There's still a chance for Carl coming there.
Yeah, Carl's still not blocked. Even though Carl talks a lot of shit about you.
Yeah. Tony single-handedly crippled Tommy T and his ability to think straight. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
I'm not sure I've seen Miller B or Tony in the same place. Makes you wonder. Well, that was Tommy's talking point. Yeah, Beefy's right. Tommy used to say that there was only 5 haters with multiple confirmed alt accounts. So any comment that was negative, it was only one of the 5 people that were negative, right? Everyone, it was always an alt account. Always an alt account. When we pointed out all the alt accounts of all the positive stuff, no, those are real. Terms of services for suckers. Yeah. Only Tony knows how much passion I have for taking down TT thanks to alts. Yeah. I hate alts. And people have accused me of using alts. I'm like, why? I'll say my piece. And
Exactly.
If you block me or ban me, well, fuck it. I'm not going to get through to you, so I'll just walk away at that point.
That's what I never understood either.
An interest in the Amico or Tommy for that matter, how can you not get suckered into either side? Here we have yet another promo video, very well shot, I must say, in the Spider-Man zone, where he bigs up his history and his team.
We have over 600.
You know what I don't understand about the Spider-Man zone? Why is Captain America's shield there?
There's other stuff up there too.
Yeah, but like this is like
green.
Spider-Man
Is that Green Goblin? Yeah.
That makes sense. Even Dr. Doom, because he's fought Spider-Man, right? But it's just like Captain America's shield is just sitting here. Like,
yeah.
Also, Tommy claimed at one point to have the world's biggest Spider-Man collection, and he doesn't.
No, not even close.
100 years of experience just on our core team. I'm talking about like the former president of Nintendo.
I mean, he's not wrong. Scott was a former president of Nintendo, Software Technology Corporation, which is still a super impressive person to have on the roster, but he is obviously being vague here and giving off the impression that he has on the team or someone similar. He also upsets plenty of people by using the word disruptor when describing the Amico's eventual impact.
And we are going to completely disrupt the video game market.
It's not going to disrupt. It's not to sound mean. For something to truly disrupt, it also has to replace what it's disrupting. Yes, Uber and Lyft did. True disruption.
Yeah. All right, Ian. What you don't realize is that Tommy has a great reason for using the word disruptor.
The word disruptor gives investors big chubbies.
The CEO, everybody.
And we hear in more greater detail about the patent-pending Karma game engine.
We have something that's called a Karma gaming engine.
I think also Slopes missed the part about the patent-pending Karma engine never being patented, never being patent pending, being used to get a grant from the German government.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tommy basically saying, it's just some bullshit we made up.
And what that means...
Sure you don't, 420 Gamer. Actually, 420 Gamer is banned on the channel also. That's an alt account that I've seen.
Is that everybody, no matter what your skill level, can feel like you have a chance and that you're in the game.
This is chatted about so much during the promotion of the system itself, but it's not new. The most obvious example of this is, again, Mario Kart. The people at the back get the best weapons and the people at the front get the weakest. Although here it's called rubber banding, it's nothing new, yet they talk about it like it is, and that they are the people that came up with it. Regardless, what's the point in this snazzy new trailer? Well, it's here to bring in more investors, crowdfunders, backers, pre-orders, call it what you want, because the Amico is back for yet another round of investing or pre-ordering on the website Fig. And if you have never heard of Fig before, according to the Wikipedia, it's a crowdfunding platform for video games that launched in 2015. And before you say I'm not allowed to research on Wikipedia, here's the company's front page, which uses the word crowdfunding a total of 11 times. Oh, sorry, Tommy, but I gotta go and update the list once again. This is crowdfunding.
This Fig campaign, I think this is the one that set Tommy off when Beefy put it up on Atari Age. He was trying to keep it on the low, not letting anybody know. But then Beefy blew up his spot. He's like, "Hey, what about this?" And Tommy threw like a fucking meltdown about it. Of course.
That's every single original claim made either broken or changed. Are you starting to see why video game companies don't talk about what might be included until it's set in stone? Anyway, after yet another mini trailer that doesn't show any gameplay footage, Tommy confirms he's in talks with Taito to bring back elevator action, Rastan, and Jungle King /Hunt. And guys, before you think I'm being too harsh by adding every single game that's on his list in his Wonka book, or wouldn't that be something? What you got to remember is that the reason I pre-ordered this system was because of Earthworm Jim. You see a trailer for Earthworm Jim coming up, that's later in the timeline, and that's all you ever saw of it. I'm sure ideas get thrown around, but that was it. Of course, at the time, I never knew the history this in depth. It's just something I was excited for, being a huge fan of the originals and, more importantly, the original Earthworm Jim team. Plus, for me, if it fails, then obviously I can make a video on it. But that's a very unique situation to be in. The important thing to take into account here is that the average person may only see a few of his interviews or posts on average. And if that person witnesses his name dropping a long-lost forgotten classic from their youth, then it's likely to win them over, after all.
And that's the point we tried to make time and time again. With all the lies and all the bullshit Tommy would say. Chubby Patrol. Oh yeah, he went fucking nuts. He went nuts over that Fig when he dropped that. We need to copyright Karma Engine. I want a caramel engine.
That $100 deposit is guaranteed to be completely refundable. Don't believe me? Check this out.
Are you freaking kidding me? Okay, you now officially have the opportunity to make the best system ever created. Don't blow it.
So, with that in mind, let's continue. One user stated that he would love to see the never-released The Last Starfighter Atari game that was shown off in the movie of the same name, a long-lost game that has become the story of legends amongst Atari collectors and retro enthusiasts. Well, time to stop searching, everybody, because Tommy Tallarico is apparently having meetings.
They've had meetings about it. They're going to get The Last Starfighter. It's going to be a reality.
It's about that exact thing. Get it on the list. A couple of days later, Tommy gets back to those interviews with his biggest supporter in regards to subscriber count.
Is that a fan?
Oh, it was.
Rich from Review Tech USA.
If people go to the IntellivisionAmico.com, go to the store, And if you end up getting anything, I put together a 20% off code. The coupon code is IMA, that's IMA, IMA Shill. You do that, and it's a 20% off, but all of the profits, we're going to donate to charity. And I'll tell you what else I'll do, Rich. I'm going to personally match whatever that profit is. I'm going to match it myself personally. So we'll end up doubling that. And
it's fair.
Rich from Review Tech USA, while watching the video and talking to Slopes, says that he doesn't know of Tommy. He could have, but he also couldn't have. Might not have donated any money to charity. We just don't know. So, I'm leaning towards they probably didn't.
I'm sure.
Because if he did, he would have had here's what we donated and blah,
exactly.
Blah, blah.
It would have been a big deal.
To say that Tommy is feeling a little cocky here by this point.
And they're all hardcore elitists, not hardcore gamers. Hardcore gamers like our system too.
Here comes the clip from the CU podcast.
But these elitists, they're racists. They're literally gaming racists. Shut up, little horn. COVID, so let's take more money. It has nothing to do with it. That was an ignorant comment. Give me a break. I'm triggered. Some of your folks are douchebags.
Jesus Christ.
It's so funny because this interview went so long that they actually get up in the middle of it and Rich goes and gets pisses and I think maybe grabs something to eat and Tommy changes his shirt.
DM in your chat, DM says, Pat and Ian are weird, but they are right about the Amico. Well, tell me what they're right about because they don't even know what it is and they've never played it. So DM, I'll wait for your response. Type away, my friend. Face it, Rich. You know damn well, both me and you, if we had the opportunity to get a lap dance from the Little Mermaid, we'd be all over.
Rich also said he didn't know the Little Mermaid was underage.
True or false?
That's the game I'm working on.
Anyway.
Jason Enos, who worked at Konami for 12 years. You think he knows some people over at Konami that could help us with getting the Castlevania thing?
Yeah, here's a reminder. 56K Warning says, remember, it wasn't Rich that made that interview great. It was Griffin. Yeah, Griffin Gaming was in the chat and busting Tommy's chops. So. Tommy ain't matching shit. Yeah. Tommy's using Smash's 10K to match that. Oof.
Speaking of Castlevania, can you maybe light a fire under Konami's rump and maybe have them make some good Contra games on your system?
Well, we're talking to them.
That would be badass if you brought it. You could make that family. If you brought a Contra game,
dude, how about 4-player Contra? How about that?
Oh, that would be amazing.
Jesus.
That would be ridiculous.
It would be stupid.
The real Tommy that we are finally getting to see here.
I've never given a shit what other people think about me.
Okay, let's continue. Tommy confirms that 12,300 consoles have been pre-ordered so far. We discover that one of the main reasons the system is getting released on that specific day is because it's to honor the birth date of his sadly deceased sister. We also discover that the system must be online to play physical games. Also, this is a pretty important date as it's when the system is finally taking pre-orders in Germany. As we move into May, the recently appointed Kara Aka sadly leaves the company. Tommy proposes a 7th packing game, and then we get another game to add to our list, Decathlon. Yep, a Decathlon.
Also, DJ Slopes missed. When I called Tommy out about the snafu, right? Tommy says, well, I didn't promise snafu. But even if I did, how do you know that it's not going to be the 7th pack-in game or the 8th or the 50th? We might have 100 pack-in games.
Jeez, he said that? Really?
Yeah, that's in a comment. That was just the level. Instead of just being we changed our minds or snafu didn't work out or we were going to, but this is what happened. Right? He's like, well, you don't know. We might just keep throwing free packing games. It's dude, chill the fuck out.
Decathlon game is already in the works. GameStop jump on board offering a unique variant, the Galaxy Purple Edition. After getting fake negative reviews for the system on GameStop's pre-order page, Tommy gets his minions on the case.
Check out the haters lying and trying to convince consumers not to buy Amico. This is how unhinged these folks have become. Smiley face. Do me a favor. Leave a comment about what you all think of Amico. Thanks.
This results in ludicrous fake reviews being left from both sides, for instance, the game's being full of microtransactions, 1 out of 5 stars, and that the UI and menu are worry-free. Farkle was the most complete experience, 5 out of 5. GameStop would eventually remove the ability to leave reviews for the system, something that they have apparently never needed to do before. Anyway.
Wow.
Look at that industry disruptor. They made GameStop do something that's never been done before.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
Since.
Don't let all that get you down, because apparently Tommy is also working on a crocking game for the Amico. After a forum user suggested that he should try it out, which he did, here is his board in the Aztec zone. Eagle-eyed and nosed investigators found several patents for Intellivision that include such gems as parental controls, even though this would surely never be needed. And best of all, and no, I'm not making this up, smell-o-vision. Oh, how I wish we lived in a world where the Amico did exist and the smell-o-vision patent was not rejected. But alas, this was not to be. Hey, it's time for some great news for the company once again, as Jay Allard has joined the team. For those that don't know, Jay Allard co-founded the Xbox project and was behind several major hardware releases for the company. Intellivision.
When Jay Allard was announced, Smash JT, and they all went nuts. Oh my God, this proves it. This proves that the Amico is real. The Amico is going to be a success. You guys thought it was an amateur show, but they got Jay Allard. This changes the game. This is a mic drop moment. And then 3 months later, he was gone. The mic dropped, bounced back all the way up into fucking orbit. Never came back down.
And was so excited to have such an industry legend on board, and so they should have been. The only problem was, well, not all was what it seemed. But before that, first things first, we get yet another person joining the company in June. We get Tommy teasing again on Atari Age about a collaboration with Arcade 1-Up dropping in 2021. Nothing ever dropped in 2021, by the way.
I have it on good authority, that there was nothing. There was nothing. This was all wishful thinking on Tommy's part. However, a little birdie told me that Arcade 1-Up may have been one of the companies that Phil Adam has recently approached. When I say recently, I mean within the time frame of Phil Adam being CEO.
Yeah.
Because Phil Adam has been shopping Intellivision around to various companies, trying to sell off Intellivision.
Sell off.
Yes. So I think them, Limited Run Games, what was that, Digital Eclipse? There's like several companies that they've basically, even though that prior they've gotten offers for partial ownership and stuff. I think now it's just like, hey, we just want to get rid of it.
And yet again, he jumps on another podcast with an extremely small YouTuber after that YouTuber slightly criticized the console.
So I was looking on GameStop's website trying to buy some games.
The freaking kid.
And there's this new product coming out from Mattel.
You've never seen this interview?
No.
Strap in, Dace. It's gonna get weird.
Called the Intellivision Amico. I looked at it and it looks kind of like an iPod. I'm very confused. So I'm gonna take you on the Intellivision Amico ride, if you will.
If you're thinking to yourself, God, he's a bit young, then you would be right. But that didn't matter, as exactly 7 days later, Tommy jumped on the 14-year-old channel to try and convince him that the Amico is awesome.
Welcome to Lucas. Today on the show, we have a big special guest. His name is Tommy.
Wow. There's two ways to look at this. On one hand, this is amazing. Tommy has time for everyone, not just the big channels, but even the small channels too. Here we have a 14-year-old YouTuber talking to a video game legend.
He's 14-year-old when this interview took place. The kid's like
so
7, he's like 17 or 18 now.
This is so inappropriate. If I knew that this had happened with my son, I'd be pissed.
You might want to hold up on saying this is so inappropriate. You want to give yourself a little wiggle room to add levels to the inappropriateness.
Oh God! Oh, I can only imagine. It's just Tom. I can only imagine because he's so fucked.
Okay. Think of the worst thing that Tommy could possibly do, and that's probably what's going to happen in this interview.
Oh fuck!
And to Tommy's credit, he praises the young lad's research and says some really nice uplifting things.
You know, my God, man, I'm very impressed. I tell you, I wish I knew as much about video games when I was your age. You're going to be, I'm not just saying this, but I think you're going to be a big person in the video game industry someday.
You could look at this as a kind of cool uncle thing, you know? A lot of the conversation is talking about how he got into retro gaming. It's quite humbling, but it can also come across a little bit like a creepy uncle thing too, right? Like when he's talking about how back in his day, the company didn't have to worry about video game censorship on the Atari and what have you. That is until...
Now, there were a couple of, like, off the charts, like weird porno, like, you know, like, what was it?
What? Oh my God, I would beat his ass. I would beat his fucking ass if that was my son.
You're gonna...
the Colonel Mustard? No, that's Clue.
For those that don't know, he's talking about
Oh
Custer's
my
Revenge,
God.
the game where you play as General Custer, dodging arrows on the way to rape the Indian maiden on the other side of the screen to a 14-year-old little boy. Now look, I'm not stupid. The boy's 14 years old. He's obviously seen worse than pixelated Bundesliga and whistle. Heck, he even says he watches the Angry Video Game Nerd too, but that's not the point. Tommy is so obsessed with getting people to like his upcoming system and to crush any and all criticism that he went onto the YouTube channel of a 14-year-old boy with virtually no audience, took over an hour out of his day to do so when he really should have been focusing on getting this thing released, and at times obviously forgot that he was talking to someone this young. Look, even though I'm sure the intentions were good here, this is so sad and quite eye-opening, as was his next interview.
Yeah.
Oh my
kid's
God.
screen name is Rabbit Dude. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say, man. Like,
Sweet and Tender says bull fucking shit. He forgot the real name of it. I think he did. I think his brain slowly caught up with his mouth. He's like, "What am I doing?"
probably.
This is what the Ars Technica writer should have wrote about. It was bad, yes, but I mean, he didn't describe it. He didn't go into detail. He just used.
No, it certainly could have been worse, but I mean, come the fuck on, man.
That's ignorant. You're being ignorant. Stop being ignorant. Yeah, I mean, fucking time. I remember when it happened, and we were all just like, "What the fuck?"
And you know what? The only reason he probably stopped himself was because he was thinking about the optics of it. Not that he was thinking that this is inappropriate for what I'm doing. He's like, oh God, what are the fucking haters going to say? Yeah. That's all he was thinking, I'm sure.
We got our boy Dr. Doom here. And shout out to Brian, Master of None.
Madness and Entertainment, who had Tommy on the show, and during a section where he was going to share his screen and show off some early concepts for the Amico.
Super Jeremy's World. OEB Pete, look at that. Look
Pete!
This happened.
Mercy us. Yeah.
Yes, you know, the kind of...
Notice the cut. Let me play it again for you in slow motion.
Mercy us. Yeah.
Yes, you know, the kind of the curve.
The reason for this is because it was edited and then re-uploaded at Tommy's request.
Wow.
What do you think was in? What do you think is in the cut, Hammock Man?
I don't even know. I have no clue.
You don't honestly you can't think of anything. What do you think would be in that cut? Come on.
I don't know. Just tell me.
All right. I'm not
There's
gonna tell you.
There's so much. I'm still like stunned after that child's interview. Like I can't even like think anymore.
You can't process.
Like, I'm blown away mentally. Like I had no idea all the shit I've ever talked about him, and I had no fucking clue, man. Like,
okay,
well, go ahead.
I will show you what was in the cut. This is courtesy of Amico Games. Shout out to Otto at Amico Games, not his real name. This was shown, and it's hard to see.
Oh, Amico hater folder, or
yeah, the hater folder. Tommy showed off his hater folder. He actually flagged a couple channels who were showing this, and he was claiming at one point he tried to claim that he got hacked.
Wow.
No, Tommy, you didn't get hacked. You stupidly showed off your desktop because you're a boomer and you didn't know how to use StreamYards.
I'm gonna have to make another when it gets warm out. I'm gonna have to make another hammock video about all this shit, just like updating things that because there's so much of this I just never knew. Like I'm really enjoying this because it's just things that I missed and I've heard. I don't always have the greatest memory, so it's like just having all this presented out before me is I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, and also you guys can't see. because I closed the thing. But there was also a Nintendo folder on there with the I'm assuming the Nintendo bad stuff that Tommy was claiming existed.
Yeah.
So back to the documentary.
And this is because for a brief second during the live stream when Tommy shared his screen, he accidentally shared his desktop first. And on said desktop, the Amico haters saw a folder called Haters. Remember back in January of 2020 when Tommy said he had a folder full of all of the negative reactions towards his console? He wasn't lying. It actually exists. And what's worse is that when people started talking about this, he then threatened to...
As Dorkalicious, that's Lydia and Kenny G. They went after these guys hard. Relic Gamer. So to give you the level of just utter depravity.
Depravity, I was gonna say.
Like just how a fucking sick, disgusting human being Relic Gamer is. Just to fill you in. So Kenny and Lydia at Dorkalicious channel, nice people, some of the nicest people. Lydia does cosplay, okay? Cosplay. And they have a Patreon, and you can subscribe and you get the cosplay pictures of Lydia. So Relic Gamer went around saying that Kenny was pimping out his wife, Lydia, and making her sell her body on the internet to make money. This is comments that he was leaving. And they were posting pictures of her cosplay. Simply because they didn't like the Amico. They said that it didn't look like a good system.
Yeah, he's disgusting. Relic Gamer's awful.
And how many Amico shills said Relic Gamer, this is no good? Relic Gamer, you shouldn't do that. We disavow this type of behavior. How many do you think came out and said that? Made videos or posts or tweets?
I'm gonna guess 0.
0. We don't know what you're talking about. Well, you guys did X, Y, Z. No. Whenever we saw something that crossed the line, or we saw something that we said this is wrong, we called it out. It didn't matter what anyone else did. It didn't matter that Atari Creep said, "I don't like you," and everybody that looks like you. It didn't matter that Turbo Joe was threatening to beat people up, right? If we saw somebody doxing or making personal attacks, we would say, "Hey, this is wrong. Don't do that. Don't go there." When I seen people trying to attack Shondell is the sweetest guy on YouTube. Right? I said, leave Shondell alone. He's off limits. We don't talk about Shondell, right? When people tried coming at Carl, I said, Carl, leave Carl alone. He's off limits, right?
Yeah, I remember I remember I came onto a stream one time and I was pretending to be Relic Gamer and I was talking about, I made fun of his wife and you said, no, don't do that.
Yeah. We don't do that. But that's how much of a scumbag Relic Gamer is, and that's how much of a scumbag the shills were. Because all was fair as long as they were attacking haters, as long as it was for the cause, as long as it was for the Amico, it was okay.
Take legal action against them for showing the screenshot, as it was apparently doxing. After this, we get another teaser for Cloudy Mountain, which again, I actually really want to try out. I think this one looks pretty damn good, to be honest. Tommy confirms that the Bitmap brothers are creating a game for the Amico. We get an early look at a new baseball game. That looks nice.
That looks like shit.
Yeah, it does.
If you defend this, I'm going to
We get yet another interview, and on this one, he confirms that the console won't just have games.
Yeah, so there's not really going to be too many games that are selling, that are going to be $2.99, $3.99, $4.99. There might be some, let's call them applications that would be in that range. For example,
is this still the calculator?
Changed.
They're going to have apps.
Example, say music visualizer. So something like that. That's not really a game, but it's more of like a cool application.
He also continues to kick off.
PlayStation had a music visualizer for free on the PlayStation.
The haters in the chat.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, Paprium Fiasco. So I got a question.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, then pronounces it exactly
perfectly. Yeah.
The way you pronounce it. Paprium Fiasco was another early hater that was really on Tommy's ass. He was also named after the game Paprium, and the Fiasco that was around that.
For him, so why do you hate me so much? It's a legitimate question, right? I mean, I'm just curious. So I'm wondering, did I piss in your Cheerios, or did I? I'm just curious. Why?
I think those clips are from. I want to say Goose's video with the Cheerios and the bee.
Yeah.
So much hatred towards me and the system. You seem to be in with that group that relishes in tearing us down all the time. So anyway,
he's easy to get.
Trying to get that sympathy. That group that relishes tearing us down. Can I swear on this channel? Of course you can. Of course you can. Within reason. Yeah, Relic made Rhea cry too. There's also that.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but that was I think that was so obvious that they had to distance themselves from Relic at that point.
Yeah. But they really didn't. They just publicly made a little show of it.
Yeah, they were still talking to him, I'm sure.
Tony, my kids are watching this right now and reading the chat. Well, they're going to learn a few new words, probably.
Yeah, and they're going to learn today.
Today's a learning day.
Another game. This one is brought up several times, by the way.
Any chance we could see Kool-Aid Man come back to the Amico? Because,
Tommy's laughing like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
That's a stupid ass game. Sure, we're going to have Kool-Aid.
Yeah, put it on the list.
Bring up the Kool-Aid, so wouldn't it be something if we literally gave him Kool-Aid to play on the Amico?
Wouldn't it be something?
Let's just say there's been more than one meeting about it.
Oh my God.
More than one
dumbass.
Meeting. With who? Who had a meeting? Who did you have a meeting with? Mr. Kool-Aid? Was it just a meeting between you and the people at Intellivision to laugh at the shills? Like, who wants to bet they're going to ask me for a Kool-Aid game? Come on. What are the odds?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just like he's been doing constantly on interviews and on the Atari Age forums.
Also, one of the shills, they don't bring this up because, again, Slopes wasn't really focused on the shills. But one of the shills was a principal. I don't know if he still is a principal, but at the time he was a principal of a school. And he literally said that he was going to use the school's discretionary funds to buy Amicos to have an after school Amico.
Is that Bacon Ice Cream Productions?
It might have been Bacon Ice Cream.
I remember seeing a video like that. I think it was him.
Hey, it's Boogie. That's not nice. It's not nice. We don't do that.
He brings up Jay Allard again too.
That's our biggest and most important goal, right? Is getting it out, making sure it's great. And this is one of the things that Jay Allard, our global director, is really kind of pounds into us.
And then it's reported that Jay Allard has left the company.
No drama, just not a good fit.
He said, adding that
in this article written by Kurt Schlossler, we went over it on the channel. And of course, the article references one of the greatest YouTube channels, I think, at this point. It's a small channel. It's growing in popularity and notoriety. But it references a channel. Maybe you've heard of this channel, Days, the Geek Getaway.
Oh, yeah, I think I have.
So, shout out to GeekWire.
He's still looking forward to seeing how the market responds when Amico launches later this year. Now, this particular news article didn't drop until the following year. And in that GeekWire article, he stated that he left the company the previous year. So around about this time, even though we don't know the exact date, we do know it was around about here. Pat and Ian pop up again, chatting about the Amico 2 on July 1st, reporting that the company are hiring for a mechanical engineer and a mechanical production engineer. Not really an issue in itself, but the problem they bring up is the fact that the system is still not done, and the release date is looming. It's 102 days to go, for those wondering, so it's probably time we should get a move on, yeah? Well, that or jump on another YouTuber interview. And guys, this right here is the funniest clip of this whole saga for me. Check this out.
I want you to do me a favor, Lee. I want you to close your eyes right now. I want you to picture in your mind your NES controller. Picture it in your mind.
I can see it right now.
Open your eyes. I mean, isn't this the same shape?
It's a rectangle, guys. Same shape. It's 1-to-1.
And he's why is he comparing it to Nintendo? Nintendo's awful, and
because that guy was from the Nintendo generation. He's not old enough to be an original Intellivision head. Anthony EFX says, "Hey Tommy, that would be cool if we had a Crips vs. Bloods game." Yeah, now that you mention it, we've actually had multiple discussions with both the Crips and the Bloods.
What? Let's play.
And I'm not saying this is definitive, but wouldn't it be something? The controllers light up. Wouldn't it be something if you played as the Crips, your controller lit up red, and if you were playing as the Blood, or no, the Crips are the blue, and if you're playing as the Blood,
Blood's the red.
Wouldn't that be something? You never know.
Play that again.
I want you to picture in your mind your NES controller. Picture it in your mind.
I can see it right now.
Open your eyes. I mean, isn't this the same shape?
What are you even talking about? Oh, time to continue. Time to continue riling up the fans as Tommy claims that according to their attorneys, Pat and Ian have actually crossed the line from a legal standpoint when declaring to the general public that they are scamming investors. Of course, nothing came from this besides getting more troops behind him.
Actually, Tommy's legal team apparently told Tommy, ha 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 ha. And Pat and Ian weren't the only ones he was trying to sue. So this channel was among those.
Oh, I'm sure.
Some of those members of the Atari Age forum see what Pat and Ian are doing and look at it as defamation. Tommy responds.
Totally agree. And again, nothing we would really pursue in regards to a lawsuit or cease and desist. They aren't worthy or important enough for that kind of attention. I can think of a lot better ways to spend Intellivision money. Smiley face. There are government organizations that deal with this kind of thing.
There's no government organization that deals with that kind of thing at all. At all. Also, just for we're all clear how defamation works, not legal advice. But in order to prove defamation, you have to prove three things. You have to prove that what the person said has actually affected you financially, right? Like, so if I say that Dazed likes licking feet and that never causes him to lose money, then it's not defamation, right? You have to actually be affected. It's not nice. It's not morally or ethically right. But the government's like, well, no one believed it, so it doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two, what I say has to actually be a lie, right? Telling the truth, it's not defamation, right? So if I say, hey, Dazed is a man, you can't sue me for that because he is, right?
No, Tony, I identify as a raptor.
And number three, you have to prove that not only was it a lie, right? So you have to prove in the order, right? It caused damages, that it was a lie. Then you have to prove that I knew it was a lie and I said it anyway, right? So if I believe that Days Gaming likes to lick feet and I didn't think that was a lie, if I believe that and I said it, well, it's not, it could be argued that it's not defamation. I was just incorrect, right? Being incorrect isn't defamation, right? Because you can be wrong. It's not, if being wrong was defamation, then basically no one could say anything, right? You would never be able to say shit. Because, oh my God, if I was wrong, I'm going to get sued.
Yeah.
How dare you assume his gender? He identifies as a hammock. He's a hammock man, not fetish advice.
Well, yeah, that's true. My name is Hammock Man, so fair enough.
And if it's a public figure or company, you have to prove actual malice, which is extremely difficult. Yeah, that's the third thing I was talking about. That's the malice. You have to prove that you knowingly spread the lie, right? That you knew it was a lie and you still spread it anyway in an attempt to defame the person or cause them financial or social harm. And of course, I'm giving you the layperson quick overview, right? Obviously, it gets more in depth. You know, if you're in a foreign country that's not the U.S., your mileage may vary. As to what I said, I believe in the UK, it's a lot easier. They don't have all three. I think it's only like the two of them. I think the proving the malice part is different. Again, your mileage may vary depending on where you live. Not legal advice. I'm just telling you what I know from, you know, my 2 years of studying law. I was going to be a lawyer at one point. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, you could have. I think you would have done well at that. You like to dig.
I would have been the you can't handle the truth. I want the truth. Give me the truth. That's a great speech, though. It you know, you're supposed to be rooting against
Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicholson, you know, right? Like he's the bad guy in A Few Good Men. But you know, when you really start to think, you're like, yeah, what he's saying does kind of make sense, right? Like, yeah, sure, what he did was fucked up, but he's kind of got a point. Tony's Matlock.
Is this a caution? Is it bullshit? Or is it just riling up the haters and the fans? You decide. On top of this, Tommy asked the Atari Age forums what name they prefer for the upcoming tank game. And over time, it seems that Intellivision Battle Tanks was the option that was chosen.
I always thought that this right here was fake because the UI doesn't look like it goes to the video, right? It looks like something that was added in After Effects, like it's on top of the tank video. Like, like the same way how this is on top of it, right? It's like almost like layered on the same layer. It's hard to describe, but like when you're looking at it,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I can kind of see it too.
Because that's just different enough so it doesn't infringe on any PlayStation 3 games of the almost same name. And of course, it's different enough to move away from Tank Battle, the board game. Time will tell if they made the right choice here. Spoiler alert, they didn't. The rest of July is filled with Intellivision announcing they have officially...
Well, no, never mind. Sorry, that wouldn't make sense. I saw that the screen rumbled underneath and the words didn't move, but I guess it wouldn't do that. Never mind. I don't
Spoiler alert, they didn't. The rest of July is filled with Intellivision announcing they have officially partnered with Major League Baseball, Evel Knievel, and the American Cornhole League.
July 16th. That's how far.
We get a couple of comedy stress test videos pop up on the official YouTube channel, which are quite nice. And then it is reported that the...
I don't think, and again, he goes over this really fast, right? Tommy, and I don't know if they licensed. I'm pretty sure they didn't. Knowing what we know about Intellivision and the way they operate, right? I'm going to lean on the side that I don't believe they licensed the footage. But I don't know if you remember, there was a Canadian gentleman who invented a suit, and it was a bear suit, right? There's a whole like documentary on him, and he invents this bear suit to deal with bears and stuff. So Tommy superimposes himself over this guy and uses it as his comedy video. Like, oh, I got an Amico controller in here with me. And, oh, look, I got hit by a log. And, oh, I just walked into a fire. And the controllers still works, right? The guy had passed by that point. And like I said, the thing that he did, like the suit was a serious thing. It wasn't just some like crazy lunatic who built a bear suit, right? It was like to study bears and stuff. Like it was
right,
something important, right? And to make fun of it and to just like belittle it the way he did, I felt it was like I had a bad taste in my mouth.
Typical Tommy shit behavior.
Yeah. Noah says, I couldn't imagine hanging out with a bunch of yes men. Fucking terrible time. Yes, it would be a terrible time. Noah, whatever you say, boss. Tony, just admit you filled your Amico shell, hot water, post feet. No.
You should turn it into a foot bath.
for little feet. I mean, that thing's not that big. It really
You
isn't.
dip your little toesies in it.
I'll charge you guys. My only feet.
Amiga Corporation are filing a dispute with Amico because the names are similar. Little history lesson for you. The Amiga name actually started as eToro, but that got changed when Jay Miner, the CEO of the company, who simply didn't like it, compared it to the sound of a bullfight with a lawnmower. Okay, here's Jay himself explaining the rest.
And it seems that they wanted something that would resemble a friendly computer. Well, amic is the Latin root for friendliness. Amicable is the Latin root for friendliness. But they wanted something short that sounded like Atari. So they took Amy and put G on the end of it.
So yeah, having two systems with two very similar names, basically meaning the same thing, it makes a bit more sense now. Regardless, in October of 2021, an agreement was made behind closed doors and Amiga eventually withdrew with prejudice. August brings with it an Amico Club app update, now with Moon Patrol gameplay. And yes, it does include motion controls, even though he said it would never include motion controls.
No fear.
So you see how he said that there's a Moon Patrol update?
Mm-hmm.
That's because,
when
like I
they
said,
made it the
longer
28
demo.
seconds. Yeah.
You won't be seeing games like Night Stalker or Moon Patrol with motion controls.
Tommy confirms that the company has had 100,000 purchase orders worldwide. Just to make sure we're all on the same page here, guys, these are purchase orders, not pre-orders. So it isn't like me or you putting down a pre-order. These are shops like Walmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, Argos, Game, anywhere like that are putting down purchase orders to the tune of 100,000 collectively. Still, it's quite nice. And only 12 refunds since January. Damn, that is unbelievable. Well done, Tommy, me old boy. Plus, we're also getting a Wipeout / F-Zero type game too. And here we have it, guys, the big 4th of August Amico event, which was sadly delayed by one day.
I remember that. CNET was going to cover the August event live, and they just delayed it one day and didn't say anything to anybody, and CNET was so pissed.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course.
Because they set aside someone to watch it. They had a whole stream set, and then Tommy didn't tell anybody. They just delayed it day of. They were pissed. They wrote a really negative write up on it, the Amico.
So they can put in one extra game. Still, here it is, the Amico 1 hour and 20 minutes.
And that's not true. Again, this is one of those lost to history, right? The lore that got lost. It was speculated that the reason that the event got delayed was to put in the Earthworm Jim footage, right? That's what the speculation was. But Tommy, who likes to run his mouth, on OEB Pete's channel said that the reason that it got delayed was because they tried uploading the video and it didn't when you upload and it doesn't finish. What's the word I'm looking for?
I know what you're saying. Rendering.
Yeah, it didn't render correctly, and so because I guess they had the world's slowest servers. They had an hour video, and it didn't. They uploaded it, and then it didn't render, so they had to try to re-upload it, and they didn't have enough time. So that's why they delayed the event by a day.
But then why not say something? Why be so stupid about it and secretive?
Because the truth is what made them look stupid. So when people said, "Oh, was it because of Earthworm Jim?" They're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds better. Let's go with that. Let's run with that. There it is."
Or just come up with some bullshit lie, just say, "Hey, we had some technical difficulties, and we're going to postpone it till tomorrow," and then that would be it.
Because, like I said, Tommy is Tommy, and nothing can go
Yeah, I
wrong.
know.
Everything's got to be good. Everything.
I know.
We delay things for good reasons, not for screw ups or mistakes.
Showcase event. The main thing to take away from the event is that the 10/10/2020 release date is simply just not going to happen.
And the bottom line is we're not going to be able to make that date. Now, these are unprecedented times. And it's no secret that this pandemic has literally affected every single aspect of every person's life.
I remember there's a video out there. Is it? I want to say maybe it's a Sensible Person video or a Goose video. One of the two. But it was a joke video with the clip of "we're not going to make that date," right? And it was a whole bunch of dates. then at the time it was like, oh look, he's not gonna make this stage, he's not gonna make that, right? Look, because it was a joke, and then the reality was they actually didn't make any of those stages.
Around the world, the impact on our company has been dramatic.
It's one of those.
F1 says it was a Lucky Day video. Lucky Day. But Lucky Day
Good old
removed all
Lucky
those
Day.
videos. Yeah. You talk to Saggy, just do it. Shia LaBeouf said so. No, Noah. There's. It's a complicated issue, Noah. Let's just leave it at that. So.
Excuses that's hard to fight. Yes, I'm absolutely positive that this has had an effect on the console. It had an effect on pretty much all electronics around the world. But it is also worth pointing out that the system has been far from complete for the longest time, and those job applications just never went away. Did they get fulfilled? Who knows? Regardless, it's the perfect get-out-of-jail-free card for the company that is completely believable. Let's just hope that they don't continue to use that same excuse for the foreseeable future.
So, I'm sure you want to know, what's the new date? Well, our new target launch date for retail is April 15th, 2021. Now, we're going to try to get those Founders Editions in people's hands on April 3rd, 2021, or 4, 3, 2, 1, launch.
Giving television their due, they do have a knack for coming up with memorable dates. That is, if you live in America and do it wrong. It's small, medium, large, guys, not medium, small, large.
No. You're wrong. You're wrong, Slopes. It's month, day, year. It's just a better way to do it, right? You agree or disagree, Hammock?
Agree.
The rest of the video is a mashup of game footage and announcements, some of which we have seen and others we have not. You got Astro Smash, the tank game, which is now known as Intellivision Battle Tanks. Tommy wants to eventually make the screen tilt more, so it's not completely top down, by the way, and spoiler alert, this never happens. Intellivision Cornhole, Intellivision Major League Baseball, a whole plethora of Sesame Street games. You got board games, Telestrations, Blank Slate, and Ink and Gold, aka Diamond. You got an official Hot Wheels game. This, as stated, is the previously shown off Sideswipers game, by the way. Karaka, who is...
I love it because Sideswipers wasn't Hot Wheels, and then it was, and then it wasn't. All right, so we're at 2 hours and 30 minutes. We actually made an hour and 20-minute headway into the video. What the hell happened?
That's pretty good, dude. I know. We just chugged through it.
We chugged along. All right, so
3 hour live stream.
3 hour live stream. We're gonna go ahead and cut it here. Dazed has a wife to go spend time with.
Well, I guess mostly because I got to get up freaking early and go to stupid work.
Here it is. I'm trying to build you up like you're always getting some, and you're like, nah, I'm not getting laid, guys. I'm just gonna go to sleep.
We've been married for 15 years, so I'm not getting it all the time.
Valentine's Day already passed. Hey.
Yeah, I know.
That was February's. That's it. Wait till. So yeah. So we will. Tomorrow is the.
Normal
Geeks,
stream.
Normal stream. I guess we're probably not going to pick this back up until Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monday. But tomorrow morning, or morning for me, it might not be morning for you. So maybe about 9-ish, I want to say. I'm going to play some Hitman. They sent me the Hitman collection. The Hitman 1, 2, and 3, and then it's got the new like Hitman single player roguelike thing. I don't know what it is. So we're gonna play some of that roguelike single player Hitman stuff. And we're gonna do that tomorrow morning. But again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And as always, love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.